Welcome back to yet another fantastic episode of So to Speak, or tonight's edition might actually have to be changed the name to Alcohol Speak, because we've all had a little bit to drink. Our lovely board of director / producer Cody MacDonald has invited us to his and his fiance's lovely home, and we had a home cooked meal. It was actually really nice.
Oh, it was great. One of the first home cooked meals I've ever done with friends. Oh. Well, I've been starting to do that a little bit more, just because like friends are starting to come over, and Veronica and I have just been like cooking up a storm for the past year and a half. So kind of makes sense. Well, it beats the fast food, anyways.
Yeah. Next time you come to the Androids Dungeon, I have a home cooked meal idea that I'm going to do for all you.
Help me help you.
For sure. Yeah.
Can you scratch my back? Oh yes. Oh. Okay, I'll scratch yours.
Oh, daddy.
See, Cody, the interesting thing about my back is that it's located on my cock. You guys have not seen Superbad in ages?
No, because I don't like that movie.
Well, it's interesting.
Okay, it's okay.
So you think Superbad is not so bad?
I don't know.
Is it overrated?
Yes.
Oh. Well,
it's on
that note. Tonight's episode that we didn't do the introductions. I'm Evan Mee.
I'm Lyle Groner.
Bitch. I'm Cody McDonald.
So tonight we are going to we had a bit to drink, but tonight's episode we're gonna talk. We did an underrated movies podcast a few weeks back.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
No, I had fun, but we can't do an underrated movies podcast if we don't talk about overrated movies. Now, as someone who suffers from perpetual social anxiety, I am not that great at talking about movies that I think are overrated, because what happens when there's a movie that you talk about, you think it's
that everyone loves, and you're like one of the outliers.
Oh, I'm sure you get the most friendliest comments ever.
Oh,
people say, well, I really value your opinion, but here's my opinion, my humble opinion. No, you get, fuck you, you fuck.
Labels.
Well, I'm gonna put your theory. I'm gonna put both your theories to the test tonight. Well, our theories are gonna be put to the test tonight because each of us have 3 movies that we respectfully think are overrated. Now, I just want to make a disclaimer that I want everyone to repeat through their minds if they have to. Just because something is overrated does not mean it is bad. Like, every single... I don't know if about the rest of you guys, but every movie I'm going to talk about tonight has at least a couple qualities that I love.
I may not like the 3 films I'm going to talk about tonight, but I will give credit to where credit is due.
Okay.
And say there are some qualities that are definitely positive.
There's one movie on my list that I just think is not worth it.
Well...
But there's the other 2 ones I think are pretty fair game.
Okay, but the thing is... You've got one of your picks, Lyle. You and I talked about this. You have an actually really interesting story that kind of proves our points.
That's not the one I mean.
Oh, okay.
There's another one.
Okay.
It's funny how we put a disclaimer. It's just we have opinions. We feel so bad that we have opinions about something.
Well, okay, you gotta be careful. You have to have a little bit of candor when you discuss things.
I think I'll be fine. I doubt people are going to be so hurt, but at least about the ones I'm talking about.
Hurt butt.
Okay.
Yeah. Butt hurt.
Okay.
Hurt butt.
Well, so I'm going to kick off the night by going first.
What's your first pick, Evan?
My first pick. Okay, I'm just going to sign my death warrant now and say that Denis Villeneuve's Dune is an overrated.
Oh my god.
Cody,
what a piece of shit.
I quit.
What a crappy
Cody,
movie.
Stop, no. Full disclosure, that was a joke to just ruffle Cody's feathers. Dune is out, and
go watch it.
Cody's going to have Cody is going to be making a Pop Talk episode.
Before or after? I don't know. It's either out or coming out. I don't know.
So what's your first pick of the night?
Okay, a movie that I think is overrated was released in the 1950s, and it's actually a Disney classic, possibly a treasure Disney classic, Lady and the Tramp. The plot of this movie, I feel, can be summed up in 3 words. Dogs do things. No, seriously, because...
Yeah.
Well, it's not like Disney... Because think about this. when you think about other like pet-centered movies that Disney has done over the decades, you think like, okay, so you have after this movie there was, well, I guess would Dumbo be considered a pet-centered movie?
Well, he's a trained animal.
Okay,
not a pet.
Okay, forget it. Okay, so but no, think about this. 101 Dalmatians is the story is interesting. It's suspenseful.
It's got a good villain.
It has a great villain. It has some likable main characters. I thought Pongo was really well done. The Aristocats. Duchess is very likable.
That one's just okay.
Thomas O'Malley is really well done.
John Wayne was a cat.
John Wayne was a cat. Oh, hey, that's Phil Harris, aka Baloo.
Not Phil Harris does voice the cat, but he sounds like John Wayne.
Oh,
like,
he comes off like that. They're kind of playing on the fact that he is like an archetype of John Wayne.
I just think he sounds like.
Okay,
that's what I meant to say.
So the reason why, and then fast forward to the 80s, Oliver and Company. You have an engaging. It's basically a retelling of Oliver Twist, but with pets.
That one was okay.
That one was good.
So where are you going with this?
The reason I'm going is because Lady and the Tramp's plot is this random family in suburban America gets an adorable little Cocker Spaniel puppy, and they call her Lady. And the first half of the movie is literally how this dog is raised. The adventure takes a very long time to get off the ground, and the adventure is literally she meets a stray called the Tramp. Though literally we don't know his name. He's called the Tramp, and there's actually a song about him.
He's a tramp,
but I love him. So the point is, the story, and then the reason why Lady gets incentivized to go off on this like not so epic adventure is because her family has a baby and they stop paying attention to her. Which, in all fairness, like, does that really happen none of us have pets, although...
babies.
Or babies. But here's the thing. Lyle, when you move in with Veronica, does that mean Chulo's going to be... Are you guys taking Chulo, or is that going to be...
we're living with our families. So.
Okay, so yeah, no. So, but the thing is...
her parents' dog is now mine.
But yeah, no, so, like, when a baby comes along, does that mean the pet gets less attention?
Well, I mean, naturally, the baby's going to have a lot of attention given to it because they need to raise it and take care of it. But, like... It requires a lot of attention.
But what happens to Lady is that in this movie, she gets, like, almost neglected. Almost neglected. Not completely neglected, but the parents take a random-ass vacation, and then they leave her with the horrible Aunt Sarah, who has the racist cats. And that didn't age well.
Bad Asian stereotypes. It won't be the first time that's brought up in this podcast.
Okay, so the reason why I think it's overrated is that the character Lady on her own is a decent character. Tramp on his own is a decent character. The most iconic scene in the movie is obviously the
spaghetti scene.
This is the night where they do the famous like little munching on the spaghetti noodle and they kiss.
You munch on spaghetti?
Hey, when I'm fucking hungry, I go to town on spaghetti.
I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, I'm gonna munch on some spaghetti, boys."
Well,
I mean, they don't use a fork.
You've seen Elf, right?
I never use a spoon when I eat spaghetti.
Oh, what are you, Buddy the Elf? I'll get you some, Cody. I'm gonna get you some maple syrup and candy corn to put on your spaghetti.
So when you find that they're together, they just don't click as well?
No. Lady, as far as Disney couples go, it's basically like, rich girl hooks up with poor kid, but they're dogs. And the climax of the movie is essentially Tramp gets into trouble, Lady stops him. I don't know, like, when I was a kid, I thought even when I was a kid, I liked it okay. But when I was a kid, the first half of the movie where Lady is getting raised as a puppy and raised into an adult dog, that was fine enough for me. But as an adult, I'm like, it's not the most interesting story about, pets. Like, there have been way more interesting stories about pets. The reason why I think Lady and the Tramp is hailed as a classic is because if you compare it to the other movies I mentioned that are about pets made by Disney, like 101 Dalmatians, The Aristocats, Oliver and Company, those movies they're great movies, but they don't have as high grade a quality of, as high quality.
Are you talking about the animation?
I'm talking about the animation. Sorry, I'm kind of tied in my words. The animation in those movies that I mentioned isn't as good as Lady and the Tramp. Lady and the Tramp looks phenomenally animated. It looks like Disney's A-Team animated that, and they left stuff like the Aristocats and 101 Dalmatians.
They're directed by the same guy.
Yeah. It's one of the earlier Disney films where I noticed that they don't reuse the same sort of like storyboard animation, because you notice that in the Aristocats where like I think it happened in the Aristocats where like one character was dancing the same way that the cat mother in the Aristocrats. Aristocats was dancing, where Robin Hood and the Aristocats had the same animation.
Yeah.
Sword in the Stone and like 101 Dalmatians had same animation.
The Jungle Book did the same thing.
Yeah. Jungle Book
and Robin Hood.
Yeah, they all...
Freaking Baloo was Little John in that movie.
They both sound the same.
Not only do they sound the same, their voice, Phil Harris came back to...
Same guy.
Phil Harris voiced both Baloo and Little John, and he was ironically Thomas O'Malley.
It's funny because Lady and the Tramp has actually grown on me throughout my
life.
Really? I love it now. Like it actually clicked with me a couple of years ago, where I felt like it's kind of nice to watch a Disney film where it almost felt like a hangout movie. There's just something so natural and kind of like sweet about it, and it doesn't. Yeah, 101 Dalmatians. 100 Dalmatians has its place where it's like it's a quest, it's a mission. We got to get back home, or we have to get away from Cruella de Vil. Like same with like Oliver and Company. Like that, I can't really remember the details that happened in that.
It's Oliver Twist, basically. Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
Oliver and Company.
Yeah,
the hobo in Oliver and Company gets involved with a gangster, and the climax of the movie is the gangster tries to kill him and his pets.
Right.
Yeah. And he dies one of the most haunting deaths in Disney history.
Oh, he gets hit by the train. Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
Getting back to Lady and the Tramp, though, I understand what you mean. It is relatively plotless.
I think that's the point, though.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you're basically watching Lady grow up.
I get why it won't click with people, because not much happens, as you said.
Yeah.
I kind of... this is going to be kind of a rough hot take, but I kind of find it to be like a one-scene wonder.
With like this is the night.
The spaghetti scene's kind of the only thing.
It's so iconic that it kind of overshadows.
Yeah,
it's
the only thing anyone remembers, really.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. Yeah.
And the side character, the side characters. I apologize to anyone who has who has an appreciation for the side characters. The side characters are forgettable. The two that kind of come close to being memorable are Jacques the Scottish Terrier and Trusty the Bloodhound, who apparently can't smell. He's lost his sense of smell, and none of the other dogs have the heart to tell him.
I find it kind of sweet, like a sophisticated sort of dog that comes from like a rich family that was well trained and well brought up.
Sheltered in a way.
Very sheltered, kind of like brings the best out of like a rough hound kind of dog that is just all about living life and doing things kind of recklessly. He kind of like changes them. He makes them grow up a bit.
Now
I can relate. Veronica shaped me up.
Nice. Speaking of Veronica,
when you start dating somebody, you shape up. And I think it really tapped into that.
Speaking of Veronica, I actually think she and Lady look alike.
Your Veronica?
Yeah,
they do.
My girlfriend.
It's her locks of hair. Her locks of hair look like Lady's ears. I can see that.
Yeah.
I was talking to Briar, who's my significant other now.
I got her 2 cups like from the Disney store, and one says Lady and one says Tramp.
Oh, cute.
Every time, yeah.
I was also present when we talked about this in our travel episode, but when we went to New York City and I took you and Brandon to the Disney store in Manhattan, you got her a stuffed lady, and I thought that was
she
adorable.
Cuddles it every time she misses me.
Aww, that's adorable.
So she really likes Lady.
I was
Tramp,
talking.
Not so much.
I was talking with Briar about this movie, and she actually was like, "Yeah, no, she saw where I was coming from. Where with Lady and the Tramp, it's got some great animation, and Lady and the Tramp are really good characters, and even Jim Deere and Darling, those are the names of Lady's owners. They're good characters too. Despite the fact that we never see their faces, they're decent owners.
What's funny? The one babysitter that was like a fucking horrible woman.
Aunt Sarah?
Aunt Sarah. She got the lady in trouble during that one scene. Mm. It's funny. She always reminds me of Fauna or Merryweather, whatever
the fairies from Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. Exactly the same. It's like the same woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think it's Fauna, right? The one who was the red?
Yeah, it's
There's
funny.
The red, the green, and the blue.
Yeah.
The one who looks like the one who's the red. It's been a while since I've seen
it.
No.
You know what's funny, though? Because, the nanny from 101 Dalmatians looks like the blue fairy.
It's true.
What's going on here? Yeah. All these spinsters from...
Can you tell that Disney made these movies?
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
Now, here's the thing. Cody, I didn't expect that much... Not to sound pompous or anything, but I didn't expect that much diversity of opinion. But I respect your 2 cents on Lady and the Tramp, it kind of reminds me of what Doug Walker said when he did the Disney December of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, where like there isn't a big epic story. It's literally just 3 different separate stories where it's just shooting the shit for an hour and a half, and there's some charm in that. I agree.
So I have a question.
What's the question?
Did you see the remake that Disney Plus put out?
Who let the CGI dogs out? Who? No, the CGI.
I totally forgot they remade that.
No, it was
Everyone did.
No, the CGI.
I didn't even see it. No.
I saw it.
I don't care.
Didn't we talk about this in that episode where we were like, "Hey, is Disney at?" When are we going to do an episode dedicated solely to the live action remakes?
Oh god.
No, we're gonna Cody. We're gonna do that when
there's no point because there's gonna be like 5 more after.
No, Cody. We will do, so to speak, we'll do, hear me now, quote me later, so to speak, we'll do a live-action Disney remake episode when YMS releases his Lion King review.
Oh, please, YMS, come on.
Come on, Adam.
You're taking yourself too seriously.
His review is it's gonna be like 5 hours long.
He's releasing part 1 soon,
nice.
That's what he says.
Okay,
it's
good.
It's gonna be like 2 or 3 parts, probably. Anyways, but...
Yeah, so
you did see the remake.
I have seen the remake. The remake did very little for me. The remake kind of gave the movie a needless villain. Like, this movie didn't really have a villain. It didn't like the dog catcher. The dog catcher being the main villain, where he's constantly trying to catch Tramp. That didn't need to be there. Like, it was another like episode. I guess Disney was listening to critics like us say, "Oh, the Lady and the Tramp has no conflict." Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll write a scene where...
The only thing I liked that the remake did is that it kicked Aunt Sarah to the curb as soon. It's like, fuck you, okay, and the horse you rode in on,
so
Aunt
you know
Sarah.
what? So you know what?
It's the one change I like. So other than that,
this is proof that Disney does listen to criticism like this, because it shows when you watch their freaking live action stuff. It shows that they are listening to criticism and they're trying to retcon it as desperately as they can. But anyways, Lady and the Tramp, it looks like a fabulous movie. Like, I love the animation, and Lady and the Tramp are iconic characters. But as far as like plot wise, it just doesn't do it for me.
That's fair. I mean, I get why it won't click with people. It's very aimless. It's very kind of fly on the wall storyline. Yeah. But I kind of like the vibe that this movie brings, where it is sort of just a hangout film, and it has kind of a charm to it where you are sort of following the mundane lifestyle of pets. Yeah. What would they do if, like, I don't want to compare it to Toy Story because there's a little bit more going on in Toy Story. But,
now, Cody, would you compare this to The Secret Life of Pets?
I haven't seen it, so I don't
know. Forget. I don't think I've looked at that movie.
I refuse to see anything Illumination for the rest of my life. Okay. After seeing, I've only seen Despicable Me.
So have I.
So I've seen maybe one of the more half decent ones, but I don't care about that company because they produce pandering bullshit.
Yeah. Did they lose you when they did the Minions spinoff?
Oh my god. Before that? Those are just like visual cancer.
Oh my god. Okay, so
I'm sorry.
That's Lady and the Tramp. Cody, what have you got for us in terms of overrated movies or movie? What's your first movie that you think is overrated?
All right, the first movie that I think is personally overrated is one that is so cherished that I'm just in sort of a trance on why it is, because there are so many better musicals out there from the classic era of cinema. Yeah. And bear in mind, I'm not a big fan of musicals to begin with. Yeah. I mean, of course I dig, like, Singing in the Rain. Yeah. Sound of Music, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Little Shop of Horrors. Those are all wonderful musicals. Sorry.
We're talking about animation.
That's why you missed it. But there's one musical that is so cherished and so annoying from its popularity that I don't understand it. It's really not really the best time capsule of the 1950s, and that is Grease. 1978.
I have not seen Grease.
I've seen Grease.
I'm going to let you two talk about it.
I'm sorry. There's really not that much to say. You're just basically following like the teen throbbing love story of like John Travolta and
Danny Zuko
and Olivia Newton-John.
Sandy, I think.
Yeah, Sandy. Oh my god, damn it, so fucking annoying. Like, it's just it's just a love story about them trying to like win their hearts over, and like
I think there's a race or something by the end.
Something, and this isn't really the best like. okay, if you want to represent the era, you got to go with something that was at least like trying to, cap on, what's the word? Trying to like represent the era, like
like American Graffiti or something like that.
American Graffiti was more like 60s.
Was that 60s?
Yeah, it was more 60s. I'm talking more like Rebel Without a Cause.
Well, that was actually of the time.
That was of the time, exactly. You want to go for something like that. Grease has this kind of weird thing where it's trying to make light of a time where, like, okay, guys back then were all about how they look and how their car looks and how they want to just overly impress women, and women weren't really taken seriously in that era. No. And this movie kind of embraces it with this sort of cheeky tone to it. And I find the songs and the story don't really work well together, and usually that's the thing I like about movies is when like the songs and the lyrics actually like progress either the story or actually like define the characters a little bit more. But really, because the lyrics are so stuck into how they feel at the moment, it's like, but your movie's about to like change, right? Nope, it just stays the exact same throughout. And finally when you get to the end with like, you're the one they want, you're the one they want, honey, it's like, okay, finally, my God, these two they've won their hearts over, and it's a little bit long, and I don't know, I don't find the songs really that good. No? I find it very overly choreographed as well.
Oh yeah.
The only positives I can say is I guess I can appreciate some iconicness to it. I get that it like represented a time to certain people, but I don't think it did in my book. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, actually.
It's funny, Cody, because I do kind of agree with you. I'm not really big on Grease either. It's one I get it's a major institution in the musical scene. Like a lot of people like to adapt it, but yeah, it's a little dated. I don't know.
It's very dated.
I don't even know how to feel about the ending where like Sandy was kind of like the the girl next door, the nice girl. She kind of dresses in like leather and she's all like, "Hey stud, I'm sexy now. You like that? I can change, but you're gonna have to change with me." And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
Does he change?
And there's also that one side character that I guess they're trying to embrace the fact that like she's a dummy with beauty school dropout.
Beauty school dropout.
I just don't know.
I kind of like that message though, because she was gonna abandon her education to just do some random beauty school thing, and then she dropped out. And she's like, you should go back to high school. You should find a career. But yeah, it's kind of maybe not.
But it's like
a little misconstrued.
Are we supposed to like sympathize with her or laugh at her? Like that's what I mean. It's a little lost in translation on what it's trying to go for.
The intent.
Yeah, the intent behind it is very lost to me.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
And yeah, like again, like I said, like it's trying to represent a time where like it was so simplistic on like how simplistic on how men were
treating women
and back then. Like the guy.
Yeah, there's like a subplot where one of them, like Rizzo, gets maybe pregnant, and the guy's just like, God damn it. And then by the end it's like, oh, it came, I'm not pregnant. It's like, oh, thank God.
It's like this movie, anytime this movie wants to take itself seriously, it's almost like it can't, because there's like this shield that can't, like, you can't get past it being so cheeky because it's just trying to be so upbeat. Mm-hmm. Actually, was this based on a play?
I don't think so. I think
it spawned a play.
It spawned,
obviously. Yeah. Like there's plenty of like.
It's a musical movie.
Yeah, actually, and I remember in high school they adapted some. I guess it was like a form like Grease, but they made this play called Cruisin'. Oh yeah. And it was like I don't know. You've seen that? Like people have adapted it somewhat.
Al Pacino? No.
Okay,
I'm thinking of the Wilkin Friedman movie.
It was sort of like a story, like it almost was like a mix of Rebel Without a Cause and Grease. Like imagine if you make Rebel Without a Cause a musical, where it dives really deep into like an adolescent young person from that time, but like have some musical numbers here and now and then. It was a fine production. I actually enjoyed Cruising more than the fucking Paramount theatrical release Grease. That's so funny to me. Yeah, I just find it overrated, and I can choose 10 other musicals that are worth going for than fucking Grease lightning bullshit.
I don't know how Veronica would feel about that, because her dad, Canada's Wonderland, how they do productions and stuff in like that castle area.
Josh was talking about that on our Wonderland episode.
Yeah. And Veronica, her dad, when she was very, very young, like almost a baby, he did the production of Grease, and he was the lead, Danny Zuko.
Sorry.
Sorry, Santiago.
Yeah, Santiago, and he would always.
I'm sure you did a better job than John Travolta.
Yeah. He's going to appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if he feels it's overrated or not. He did it for like years and years, so I imagine he might be sick of it by now.
I don't know. It's too in your face. This movie is too in your face.
Yeah.
That's the vibe. That's honestly the kind of like feeling I get from watching Grease, and I've only seen it once. So perhaps I might retract on my opinion. I don't know. It's been years since I've seen it, but I remember enjoying myself way more watching other old classic musicals than Grease. So, be gone with the Grease lightning.
Yeah.
What do you got for us, Lyle?
What do I got next? Well, if we're gonna go with the classics.
So there's a reoccurring theme. I talked about a classic. Cody talked about a classic. Lyle's going to talk about
I'm actually going by release date, so we're jumping ahead to 2014 with my next one.
Well, okay then. I'll go with my earliest installment. Oh boy, this movie's an iconic movie right here, but I don't like it particularly, and that is Blake Edwards' Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Because I thought, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's?
He said, I think I saw the film, and as I recall, I think we both kind of liked it. That's one thing we got.
Boy, that Mickey Rooney.
I will touch. Yeah. Okay, so
that is. My God, today. My God, if Mickey Rooney was still alive. Just cancel this 100-year-old man.
I will
He's not. Mickey Rooney passed away.
I know. If he was alive, cancel this elderly man.
I will touch on that because he did talk about that later in his life.
Oh, boy.
So, Breakfast at Tiffany's is arguably Audrey Hepburn's like most iconic role.
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
And I don't want to take that away from her whatsoever. I think
Have you seen this, Evan?
I have not, but
okay.
When I was graduating high school, a lot of the girls I knew back then wrote Audrey Hepburn quotes in their graduation quotes in the yearbook. So Audrey Hepburn is clearly a role model. I feel bad about shitting on Audrey Hepburn. I don't know that much about her. Okay, we're shitting on the movie, not even shitting on the movie.
I'm just saying it's got a lot of flaws that kind of hold it back for me from calling it like an absolute classic of the '60s. But she is the best. She's probably the best part of the movie, hands down. And her character is like, she's like this independent lady who's living the big social life in New York. She's glamorous. She wants to be seen as like kind of part of the cafe society scene that was going on at the time. And she has all these like parties and stuff. But the idea is that she's not really who she says she is. She came from like the middle of nowhere, just Bumstead nowhere. She's actually a child bride too. The story actually touches on a lot of things that probably would have really upset the censors back in the day. Like it's based on a novel by Truman Capote, who and this story probably had like from what he said about the movie, it doesn't really do it justice. His book is like Hubert Selby Jr. levels of like, oh damn, this is what it's really like to live in New York. So like Last Exit to Brooklyn levels. But, like, the movie is more of a comedy. Yeah. And, not a very funny one, to be honest. But, it's just, like, he didn't like the fact that even Audrey Hepburn was cast. He wanted Marilyn Monroe. That would have been interesting. But, like, I don't know. His thoughts aside, I think Breakfast at Tiffany's works best when it's not trying to be a comedy and it's just, like, this honest depiction of a lady who doesn't really know what to do with herself. Yeah. But she just wants to do her own thing. I like the melancholy in this movie a lot. Moon River is a beautiful song. One of the most touching songs I've ever heard. But it's when the movie wants to be funny or it wants to be like a cute rom-com that I'm just like not into it as much. I think the male lead, I always forget his name, Paul, played by George Peppard, I find him very boring. He reminds me a lot of Brian Griffin when he tries to pick out girls. He's like, "Oh, I'm working on a novel," and that's his whole character. Is like he's a struggling writer. He's got a sugar mom. That they don't call her sugar mom, but that's what she is. And that's what I mean. There's things in this movie that I feel like probably because of the time it was made, you couldn't just say he's kind of hooking up with this cougar to like make a living in New York and stuff. Like they have to be very, very clean about it
and delicate
because at the time that would get you really cut from the industry. Yeah. And I get that.
But you know what who didn't get cut from the industry? Was
the elephant in the room.
The neighbor, Mickey Rooney.
Not the neighbor, the landlord.
Was the landlord.
Mr. God damn it. Where is he?
Oh.
Mickey Rooney plays...
It's cringe. It's the definition of cringe. It's so offensively bad.
So Mickey Rooney plays an Asian landlord named Mr. Uniashi. And he's in yellowface. He has buck teeth. He speaks broken fragments of English. And he's just loud, and he bumps into everything. He has poor eyesight because he squints his eyes in every scene.
Oh my god!
And it is the ugliest depiction of an Asian character. Even if an Asian actor played this character,
it'd be just. So
I still think I think it would be just as bad. Really,
it would just. Be
He's
too
a bad
over the top.
character.
Yeah,
and you can't even cut him out of the movie because there's so many interactions, and it even plays out in the final.
Well,
scenes.
It also clashes with just the film itself. It feels like, why are we just all of a sudden segueing over and focusing on this landlord character? Like, he adds nothing.
No, he's
is it just a star-billing sort of attraction where it's like, if you put him in the "and" category, okay, now I gotta go see the movie because Mickey Rooney's in it.
He was a veteran actor in like the 40s and 50s.
It's manipulative,
And he was a star at that time. So it makes sense that they want to showcase him, but it's such an ugly thing. It really mars the movie for me a lot. It's why I don't recommend it to people. And I unfortunately, how HBO was saying this about Gone with the Wind. It's it's set during the Civil War and focuses on the Confederate side, and it's it doesn't paint the characters of.
But that's the point.
To
argue against that, that's the point. I mean, why would you want to rewrite history? But that's another conversation.
That movie's getting a lot of flack, and I think I see it, but I don't really agree with it. This movie, if people wanted to cancel this movie, I kind of see why.
So Paramount Plus probably because it's Paramount probably.
They're gonna say things like, this movie's racially insensitive. Just be warned, it was made at a different time.
Exactly.
And I don't like his scenes. And it's very long. It's almost over 2 hours, and it doesn't feel like a movie that's 2 hours long.
Back in the day, that would have been considered abnormally long for a movie because it's not an epic; it's a drama, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of like it.
Now, I have about the plot. When you described a character pretending to be someone she isn't, as soon as you said that, I got Talented Mr. Ripley vibes.
It's not because she's not a sinister character. She just kind of gets by however she can. She kind of takes advantage of men. Because she's attractive.
You could argue that
she hustles a lot.
You could argue that in Talented Mr. Ripley does what he does as a survival mechanism. But
my experience with this movie was kind of interesting because I'm watching it, not really having as much harsh feelings as you had, Lyle. But I'm watching it going, I get what it's trying to do. It's just not really clicking with me. But to not spoil it, the ending hit me, and it actually kind of choked me up a bit.
Oh, really? The alleyway scene?
The melodrama at the end, it kind of hit me. And I was sort of some classic melancholy golden age cinema is coming through. And I can understand why this hit with people. So I'm was it just you had to get to the ending for everything to kind of click and come together? Because it worked very well.
Yeah, I agree. The melancholy aspects of Breakfast at Tiffany are the best parts of the movie.
The melodrama of the ending is what really solidified it.
Yeah, because she doesn't get what she wants at the end, and then she finds someone who's just there to support her.
Maybe it was the music. Maybe it was Audrey Hepburn's.
It's very Hollywood. I'll say that.
But I got suckered into it.
There was something about this.
It's a time capsule. I like watching it.
Cody, you're right. There was something about this era of Hollywood that appealed to everyone. And you can't go wrong with that.
It's funny because you haven't seen this movie yet, but in Last Night in Soho, the main character loves Breakfast at Tiffany. And it makes sense because she's a fashion designer.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a very classy looking movie. Lots of nice dresses and all that. There are maybe one or two scenes I like that were actually funny. I'll say them. So there's a party scene, big party scene, bombastic party scene. There's one part where there's this rich lady. She's drunk off her ass. She's looking in a mirror. She's just laughing. So she's ha 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 ha. Cuts to her a while later. She's just crying at herself. She's ha 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 ha, and pointing at herself. That's almost like something I'd see in The Simpsons or something. And there's a chase scene. Well, I don't really want to call it a chase scene. It's more like a being tailed scene. Paul's just like walking through the park. There's this detective-looking guy kind of following his footsteps. So he just walks through. It goes on for like 3 minutes. He's just walking and walking and walking, and it gets to like a stadium, a place where he can sit. He just kind of sits there and waits for the person to catch up to him. He's like, "So what do you want?" Just like kind of like this dry. That's kind of like Blake Edwards' style. He's like very dry. And I think that's why I find a lot of his movies aren't like laugh out loud hysterical.
Well, I mean, he did do the Pink Panther movies, yeah.
Like even those early ones, I feel like they're kind of like, yeah.
I haven't seen it, but The Days of Wine and Roses is apparently a movie that is taken really seriously.
Yeah, he's done dramas too. I don't know. It's just like he's not like a Mel Brooks. Like he doesn't elicit like, oh, that's
comedy. Yeah.
Break out into tears, laughter. But he's very dry. He has like sensibilities with blocking and like.
He's not as versatile as like somebody like Billy Wilder or somebody like that.
No, I wouldn't say so. But like Breakfast at Tiffany's, it's like I understand why someone would like it, and it is cool to see like in the early '60s like a female character is very independent and like very rational, thinks highly and has like perspective that most movies probably wouldn't have touched on at the time. I just think it's a little sanitized, and it has some ugly things that were probably very common at that time. I don't know if they'd ever want to remake it and keep the elements that Truman Capote had in his novel. Probably not, because it's too iconic, so to even attempt to would be futile. It's kind of stuck in an awkward place for me, and that's why I find it slightly overrated.
Yeah.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that was an interesting perspective.
Thank you.
It was good.
So,
round two.
Okay, so in my next pick, I'm taking us to the 1990s.
Hey, we're home, baby.
Hi,
Cody from the 90s.
Yo, what's up, dude?
Did you just make a reference that wasn't from the 90s?
Hang out on my couch and we'll do nothing all day. We live in these expensive houses. We have smoking hot girlfriends.
We drink way too much coffee.
We drink way too much coffee and soda. And we watch way too much MTV.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so the year in the 90s, I don't understand. Okay, I was told going into this movie that it's a classic, and it apparently really is a classic because it got enough hype to warrant a sequel that came out like almost 20 years after the fact that did so horribly that when I heard the horrible reviews, I was not surprised in the least that the sequel was panned. Zoolander.
Okay. You are wrong. This is 2001.
Oh, 2001.
Yeah, oh yeah, this is not a 90s.
Okay,
movie.
Hey, misleading.
Sorry.
Oh, great. We have to go to 2001.
Okay, so we're going to 2001.
What a great year.
I mean, okay, no, to be fair, to be fair,
that's unintentionally
dark. Oh my god, yeah.
My favorite movie came out, dude.
The movie in 2001.
Fantastic.
A movie that takes place in New York. Jesus fucking Christ.
Oh god.
Oh my god. You edgy fucks. So, I apologize. But to be fair, to be honest, the tone of Zoolander, it may as well have been a 90s movie because a lot of movies that are set in the early part of a new decade, their tone really shows that they haven't quite gone over the last decade. Like
you are totally true. And I can understand why you think it's a 90s movie because Derek Zoolander is like Lloyd Christmas or Billy Madison.
And it was like the late 90s. Like Ben Stiller was coming into his own. He had
the dummy.
Show,
no, but here's the thing.
Cable Guy and all that.
Yeah. But Ben Stiller's performance is actually not what the problem I have with this movie. The problem I have with this movie is that I didn't laugh that much. Like, I was told it's so funny because I had a stepfather who, I heard about the movie because there was a song that someone danced to. One of the songs that was in this movie got a dance performance at an arts night in my elementary school, and I thought, okay, so I guess this is a classic. The problem I have with this movie is that not only is it not very funny, the premise didn't really seem that attractive to me because I completely get, now that I think about, I've only seen this movie once, but my memory of it is pretty vivid. I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to take, it was basically a parody of the supermodel extravagant lifestyle where you have Derek Zoolander, who is this degenerate. He's not very smart. He's a man-child. He needs to be, catered to and, provided for by his handlers.
Yeah.
They're satirizing what Hollywood was satirizing, or whoever the producers were, they were satirizing how they perceive the supermodel extravaganza. In that respect, it's kind of mean-spirited because I don't know a super lot about the fashion world. Fashion world, but you know, you can do, if you want to parody it, like, you know, it just seems a little mean-spirited to me because they paint like these big fashion models as egotistical and, you know, stupid. Like, the plot of this movie is Ben Stiller plays Derek Zoolander, and he goes to he has like a model feud with this other model played by Will Ferrell, who at the time was unknown. And
well, Saturday Night Live, he was kind of known.
Okay, no, he was known for Saturday Night Live, and he's a supporting role. It would be another 2 years before he got a lead role in Elf.
He also has a rivalry with Owen Wilson's character.
That's true. Yes.
Is he also a model? I haven't seen the movie in
a
very long time.
In the first 10 minutes of this movie, celebrity cameos extravaganza. Like, you got Natalie Portman, you got that number 45, you've got...
Isn't Billy Zane in the movie? He's like...
I don't remember.
The guy that plays Cal from Titanic?
Yeah, I know, I just don't think... I don't remember.
Yeah, so... the one joke that kind of made me like come close to laughing was the whole, you know, when at the end of the movie, when Derek Zoolander wants to like set up a charity organization, like the Derek Zoolander School for kids that can't write and do stuff good but want to do good stuff.
For the children that are
can't write and
can't read very good or something.
Can't want to read good and want to do other stuff good
specific,
too.
Yeah.
No, like it shows like, you know.
So you think it's overrated because
I don't understand why I don't understand. Yeah, no, it's mean-spirited. It's not very funny. I don't understand why people regard it as a classic. And when I heard the sequel not only bombed but got horrible reviews, it took 15 years for this movie to get a sequel, but I guess it finally happened. And when it did happen, everyone was just like, "That was horrible."
It's like too little, too late. Kind of thing, where it's like what, like that came out in what, 2015? It's like what,
2016.
15 years later. Yeah, no one's.
I guess you could say, to quote The Incredibles, "Too late. 15 years too late."
Yeah, exactly.
Lyle loves Syndrome.
Yeah, Syndrome's great. But I agree with you, Evan. Like, I do find the movies very infrequently funny. I can only think of like a handful of jokes that I remember. Like, what is this? A hotel for ants?
That's the thing I was about to bring up, is that the two funny, humorous moments that I remember from this movie are actually the same type of joke where someone's taking something too literally.
Yeah.
So one being like the scene where they're showing the diagram of this new
the model
building this new model of the building of the children who can't read good thing.
Yeah.
And Derek is thinking like
it's the
actual building. Like, what is this? A center for ants? How can they fit? How can they fit inside the building?
Yeah.
They're supposed to read good. How do they fit inside the building? And then later on in the movie, when Owen Wilson had to try to find these files, they're like, "Where are the files?" They're in the computer.
Oh yeah, and you can't access.
They're in the computer. He picks it up and he smashes it. Where are all the files? It's like, okay, well, it's the same type of joke. You're taking it too literally.
I really tune out a lot in the movie. I think the only time it's for the first act, I really don't care. Yeah. The time I finally sink into the movie is during when he's with his brothers in the gas station, and they have a gas fight.
They're dicking around with the gas.
They're shooting gas at each other,
and someone lights a fucking match or something, and he's like right into the
no, boom.
That made me laugh.
You know,
that's my favorite.
Also, what about that? So there's also the one thing I didn't get was like there's that scene in the cemetery where they have this. They show like there's this big conspiracy in the model world.
Yeah.
Where, like,
wasn't it played by the David? The guy from the X-Files.
David Duchovny.
David Duchovny. He plays like a conspiracy guy that comes in and is like, Derek, there's like an underground world.
God, that makes sense because the X-Files.
What goes on?
That makes sense because the X-Files is a very conspiratorial.
That was pretty big at the time, like after the 90s.
Now here's the thing. Like that goes back to the point that Cody and I were kind of making. Zoolander was released in 2001, but it may as well have been a 90s movie because it was made at a time when the tone of the 90s hadn't quite gotten over itself.
Exactly, yep.
And every decade, the music and the movies, in the first couple of years of a new decade, the movies and music haven't quite gotten over from the last decade, so like, officially, the decade kind of forms its own tone, like, at least 2 or 3 years in. Like, because, and you notice this with other decades, like, in the early 90s, a lot of movies that were made in the early 90s feel like 80s movies, and, you know, a lot of movies that were made in the early 80s feel like 70s movies. So, That's the kind of the point I'm making. I was a little confused, so I forgot that this was
well, no, it's understandable because again, like I totally get the influences where it's coming from. Is that it feels like a Dumb and Dumber, a Billy Madison kind of like it's someone who's so stupid that they don't realize that they're stupid, and it actually comes off a tiny bit clever on the points that they're making. Yeah. The case with the Zoolander is that, like you said, it's very wish-washy, very, very hit and miss. And even when the hits happen, it's not really laugh out loud funny.
But the thing is...
And the funny thing is, I do like roles where Ben Stiller plays it so, like, seriously and, like, over the top.
When he plays a character.
Dodgeball.
Dodgeball.
I'm so glad you brought
Guys, Heavyweights. Have you watched Heavyweights before? No. Disney's Heavyweights? Go home right now and go watch it on Disney+. Heavyweights 1995. Yeah. He plays a similar type of character like from Dodgeball, like just like a very fit, like pro health over the top guy that just like totally shits and shames on everybody that isn't fit. He totally plays the exact same guy in Heavyweights, and it's written by it's co-written by Judd Apatow.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, you can kind of look at it like it's a fat shaming type of movie. Oh, I'm sorry, but there's some exaggeration to it where it kind of forgives itself. Okay, but anyway, sorry. But so, I like when Ben Stiller plays not just a normal guy, because he's kind of boring.
You're literally taking the words out of my mouth, because I did want to talk about this. I'm glad you brought this up.
He's a little boring when he plays a normal guy, Ben Stiller. But when he plays somebody that's just so over the top and serious like this, like I find it kind of funny.
Yeah. Like, so, no, I love that you brought that up, and you kind of took the words out of my mouth, because I was going to dedicate, like, of all the things that I don't like about this movie, Ben Stiller's performance as Derek Zoolander is actually one of the things I like. I like that Ben Stiller plays a character, because if you watch stuff like Zoolander, The Royal Tenenbaums, Dodgeball, or even Madagascar with Alex the Lion, he plays a character. Like, he is trying to be someone different. Watch a movie like Night at the Museum or Tower Heist, or I love this movie, but
Meet the Parents.
Meet the Parents, or I love this movie, but The Secret Life of Walter Mitty remake. When Ben Stiller plays an everyman, he's boring as hell. But when he plays a character, man, is he fun to watch.
The only one where he plays it really well, where it's just a normal person, is the Meyerowitz stories.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Noah Baumbach. Even Adam Sandler. Really good in the movie. Yeah. They played really good brothers.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good. So, again, the issues I have... I guess the big issue I have with this movie is that, like...
It was so built up to being so laugh out loud funny, and you watch it, you're like...
That wasn't funny. That was okay.
It's moderate.
I mean, the premise...
I don't want to re-watch it as much, just because I probably feel the same way, where it's like, it's funny in parts, but I'm not
in my
too
opinion,
big on it.
I just find it forgettable.
It's kind of... Zoolander is kind of mean-spirited, and...
I don't find mean-spirited like... Bad Santa is fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's so mean-spirited, but that's the nature. That's what works so well about it.
Yeah.
But
it can work.
Because it's about a shitty person doing shitty things.
Yeah.
That's why Bad Santa...
It just needs to be funny, and someone normal needs to react to it.
Yeah.
The problem is not a lot of people are really reacting to it.
Like, is Bad Santa going to be the next entry on your list, Cody, or...
Maybe. No. I
like that.
The most heartwarming Christmas movie is Bad Santa.
Yeah. No, like if you're a cynical, jaded fuck, Bad Santa probably is a super classic. Yeah.
I love watching Billy Bob Thornton and Tony Cox rob a mall in the middle of the night.
I'm on my fucking lunch break! Okay, we digress. Okay, so...
We're close to Christmas.
So save it for the Christmas episode.
Zoolander, overrated. It's not. It was built up to be this really funny movie. It's not. Moving on. Okay. Cody, what do you got for us next?
What do you got?
Alright, wow. So we're jumping ahead to 2014. You guys, Christopher Nolan?
Is he that guy? Is he that guy who made those Batman movies that no one talks about anymore?
Batman Forever and Batman and Robin? Yes.
No, you're thinking of Joel Schumacher. Oh yeah, he did that. No, Christopher Nolan did that Batman and Robin movie, and Joel Schumacher made that epic trilogy in the 2000s with Heath Ledger's The Joker.
Yeah.
Joel Schumacher, bless your soul.
But Christopher Nolan, carry on.
Christopher Nolan is like one of the best filmmakers working today. And when it comes to like grand filmmaking, he's definitely one of the best. He's one of my favorites. I would say he's in like my top 10. Yeah. Like I've loved everything that he's made. Not quite everything, I'll say. Yeah. Lately. He's kind of slumped ever since his post Dark Knight trilogy era. Okay. He peaked too high with Inception. And he started off very strong with Memento. And gems like The Prestige and the Dark Knight trilogy, of course. They're all really good. And Somnia, yep, another solid one. And Dunkirk as well.
Oh, yeah.
Probably his best movie he's made in the past, I'd say since Inception.
Dunkirk was amazing.
Yeah,
his best movie since Inception, I would say.
I agree.
And there's one movie that everybody loves, and I was hyped over the moon to see it, and yet it disappointed me so much.
I think I know where we're going with this.
It was Interstellar.
Yeah.
Interstellar to me is just a bombastic, very like it's so cheesy. It was surprisingly very cheesy, and it's contrasting. It's not a good like combination of mixing in like grand visual, like a space epic with like the theme of. Oh, well, it wouldn't be a So to Speak podcast if we wouldn't quote The Simpsons, but the whole theme of Interstellar is love. Who's been screwing with this thing? Like, that's the whole theme behind it, is that, well, okay, if we're going to be here, we'll be here for a while if I try to fucking summarize the plot of Interstellar.
Don't leave me, Murph!
I mean, it boils down to, like, it's kind of like an apocalyptic thing where the world's kind of dying, and they need to relocate to a new planet.
They need to salvage humanity from a horrible situation.
I didn't think you would do the short story of that, but sure. Long story short, absolutely, yes. Go with that.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah.
And it gets very heady, needlessly heady. And I think that's only because Christopher Nolan, again, people loved Inception so much. The mind-bending, high concept kind of movies. Yeah. But Interstellar is so confusing compared to Inception, actually.
Yeah.
Like, Inception is a very easy movie to follow. It's just a heist film.
No, it's easy to follow after your third viewing. Sorry, Cody.
Sure, I guess, but it's easy to grasp, like, right away. But it's also quite an experience the first time to watch it. My theatrical experience watching Interstellar was annoying. I couldn't tell if I was hearing both Hans Zimmer's overbearing score or the very bad sound design that was overbearing.
Didn't people complain about that with the last movie he did with Tenet? People complained.
Yeah, Tenet didn't click with me as much either. Not to jump to another movie, but that also did not click with me.
The problem with Christopher Nolan and working sound design and musical composition with Hans Zimmer is that every time they collaborate, they think they are changing the film industry, but in reality, they're actually annoying the shit out of people.
It's too much of a drone, and it's too much of, like, you gotta get your mixing good, Like,
can I be honest with you about, not to go off on a tangent, but we're talking about overrated things. I think the fan base of Christopher Nolan is the most annoying fan base of any directorial fan base. Because every time I'm on social media and I criticize anything about any Nolan film, Nolan fanboys will jump down my throat saying, "How dare you, you uncultured! Like, do you even understand filmmaking?"
I mean, in today's day and age, he is representing what's sort of the best of the era that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's
an auteur.
Albeit, he's sort of like a modern Kubrick.
Yeah.
And clearly, he's trying to strive with that inspiration with Interstellar, because there's parts where this feels like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Yeah. But 2001: A Space Odyssey is a movie where it actually is about the question. Yeah. Like, you end off with this movie like, okay, what does this all mean? There's a lot of themes. Like, once you get the themes, what does this all mean?
And very little dialogue.
Very little dialogue, and it's a work of art. You're supposed to get this interpretation out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. With Interstellar, it feels like he's going so much with a story that it's not abstract. It's literal. Yeah. You need to figure out either or. If you're trying to do the mixture of two, which, I mean, filmmakers like Denis know how to do it very well. But I mean, but that's another story. But the thing is with Interstellar is that it is so on the nose sometimes. It's actually embarrassing to watch. Like Anne Hathaway's scene where she's saying like the thing that travels most through like time and space is love. I'm like, this is like embarrassingly bad. Like, how the hell did the guy that write the Dark Knight movies or like Prestige write this movie?
It's interesting.
I cannot believe it,
Cody. It's interesting you should mention that because David S. Goyer, who co-wrote Interstellar, and he's a frequent collaborator with Nolan. Yeah, David.
It all makes sense.
Can we verify this?
The man that wrote Batman vs Superman. No, it all makes sense.
I want to make sure. Apparently,
no, not Dark Phoenix.
I want to make sure that we're getting this right because I don't want.
No. Simon Kinberg directed.
Guys, I don't want
Phoenix.
I want to make sure that we're not needlessly shitting on David S. Goyer, but whoever wrote Interstellar, be it David.
It was probably his brother, Jonathan.
Yeah, no,
you know, like, it could have been Jonathan.
The reason why Christopher Nolan took on Interstellar as a project is because he wanted to make a movie about astrophysics, where the science of astrophysics was as literal and as accurate as possible.
And that's fine.
Goyer was not attached to Interstellar whatsoever.
And that's fine. And that's fine. But like he went too much. Like you take a movie like Gravity, very simple. You know that really. I mean, it really did help to see it on IMAX, of course. But
it was scientifically accurate.
That was simple. It's just like Sandra Bullock needed to go from point A to point Z.
Gravity was scientifically accurate for the first 2/3. The third movie kind of made the third act made it a little Hollywood-ish, where like she's flying through space.
With the fire extinguisher.
With the fire extinguisher, I don't think that would work.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah,
kind of.
Well,
they have like jets in their ships.
The whole idea is like thrust propulsion.
You didn't complain about it in WALL-E.
And on that note,
WALL-E was a whimsical fairy tale.
It's animated. Liberties.
Whatever.
Suspend your disbelief.
Whatever,
but that's also the thing about Interstellar. That's the thing about Interstellar is that it's so beautifully shot, and the visual effects are incredible. Like I'll still remember the image of like them on that planet where there's like 1,000-foot tidal waves. Like there's like a wall of water. Like I'll still remember like the landscape of like that kind of snowy planet. Like there's a lot of grand visuals that stuck with me. But the problem is it didn't. There wasn't anything behind it. Yeah. Like there was no emotional core behind it. And if there was, then it really was very, like again on the nose, cheesy, just. And what's up with the fucking like? Oh, Matt Damon is in this. And Casey Affleck.
What the hell is
this?
Okay?
Like what? Oh yeah, Timothy Chalamet is in it. That's one of his first roles.
Who does he play again?
He plays young.
He plays
Casey
the son.
Affleck.
He plays the son. Yeah. He plays the son later on, growing up as Casey Affleck. Yeah.
Don't worry, Timothy. You'll get redeemed in science fiction.
Yeah, Denny probably watched Interstellar and went, "I see him as my Paul."
Tim Chan.
But
there's not a. I guess you could say there's not a call that House Atreides does not answer.
Man, it's like the talk of the town now, isn't it?
Oh my god.
But this whole amazing space epic extravaganza leads all the way to a bookcase scene where it's sort of like
Tesseract.
We're going that way.
That Tesseract scene was so weird.
And we're not talking about the Tesseract from the Avengers, nerds. We're talking about a metaphysical Tesseract.
It's like, how do you survive in that?
Yeah.
What was he breathing? Did he have enough air in his suit? Was there even what it was like the space between spaces.
He fell into a black hole, didn't he?
And survived.
Yeah.
And there's also like this monotone sort of way that Nolan does with his movies sometimes, where it kind of bugs me, where people just talk about things like, it is the most serious and epic thing that you'll ever see in your life. That is
one of the criticisms that Nolan gets. His movies are very exposition heavy to the point where the audience can't. The audience is, even the Batman trilogy gets flack for this. It's like it's so exposition heavy that the audience doesn't have a second to interpret it for itself.
It's like a movie that talks about its own themes.
And that makes me wonder: is that Nolan or is that Warner Brothers saying, you gotta put this in here, explain it to the people in the audience? Like
it could.
I don't know what it is sometimes with him. Like it really just. I don't know if it feels like studio compromise or if he's just really trying to like know that like there's some dummies out there in the audience. They probably need some answers. So why not just overly explain it to people?
Yeah.
And when I look up reviews on this fucking movie, it's in the top 30 of the IMDb top 250, for fuck's sakes.
Wow.
It is highly rated on Letterboxd. People just say, yeah, it's a good movie and stuff. I'm like, no. I can pick out so many other space movies. It's like what I said about Grease. I can pick out so many different space epics than Interstellar. And so many better Christopher Nolan movies than this one. I think it's his most overrated movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's either this or Tenet that might be his worst movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah.
Like even like
Following
was better.
Even his first,
it's like an hour long.
Even his first film, I found was more interesting. I'm like, you see the potential there too.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not on the same scale, but yeah,
it's like he should have fucking known better at this point.
It's a good debut, I'll admit.
Yeah.
No, I think he has a bit of an ego, where he likes to peak a little too high with the high concept, like. fine with Inception, sure. I think he did a smart career choice by doing Dunkirk. Like, just prove yourself doing like, you know,
a period piece,
like a biopic, or not a biopic, like a war film.
Yeah, I mean, he still had to.
But then he backtracked on doing Tenet, which is like, oh my god, I'm gonna make a backwards movie, and it's like, fuck. There's like literally when I saw Tenet, there was like 1 minute of the movie where it made sense to me.
And you masked up in a pandemic to go see that.
I masked up to go see it because I said I want to be fair to cinema. I want to go see a Christopher Nolan movie or a Denny movie in IMAX. No, I didn't see it in IMAX, but I did see it on the big screen of Tenet. But yeah,
I'm on the fence, so I don't know if I really want to see it or not. I guess I might as well.
I kind of ranted a bit, but what do you guys think about Interstellar? Sorry,
I find it funny that
7 out of 10 for me.
I think it's like a 7.5. I like the atmosphere of it. It's a beautiful looking movie.
I really feel the palpable like tension when it really illustrates just how much time passes when you travel through space or when you go on a different planet.
That scene where that
gives me anxiety.
Okay, scene where he's crying at his kids.
Yes, when he was crying at like older Murph. Yeah, that's the daughter's name. Yeah,
Jessica Chastain.
Good on Matthew McConaughey. That he sold that scene. I know it's kind of been memed a bit if you look at it out of context, but I mean it was a powerful scene.
All right, what the hell?
Because like really, a parent would react that way if they actually missed out on like the progression, foundation, and like livelihood of their child.
Yeah,
like that. Okay. That's exactly how they would have acted. Okay. Like they're filled with like sadness and happiness that they're still alive, but also just like devastation as well. Like
because time works differently. Yeah.
He sold it absolutely. Yeah, there. I'm saying some positives about it, but I don't like.
I feel like that's how we should.
I feel no fucking desire to revisit it. I don't care about trying to crack it. Like, oh, you have to watch it again to understand it. No. Fuck it.
My theory is... So, what the hell... Okay, my question...
To infinity and fucking beyond.
My last question about Interstellar is, it's funny that Matt Damon plays a guy stranded light years away in space, and all of NASA has to drain their bank accounts to go save him. Because the next year after Interstellar, Matt Damon played a guy stuck on Mars.
Oh, yeah. All of NASA... Disney's My Favorite Martian. That's right, yeah.
The remake.
Fuck! Disney owns The Martian Daniels. And My Favorite Martian.
Jeff Daniels is in both movies.
Who is his favorite Martian? Matt Damon or Christopher Lloyd?
You're plagiarizing my Letterboxd review. I said it first.
I said it first.
No, that's right. Yo, we both did.
God damn it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
This is perfect because my next movie also has Christopher Lloyd as an alien.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I remember when I said earlier, it's like, I don't hate most of the entries on my list, but this is the one where I'm just like, I don't get it. And this is a weird pick for me because it's not a critical darling. It's not like a hidden like masterpiece, and it's not even like revered. It's a cult film. And cult films are kind of weird. And me being the cult connoisseur on this channel, it's like some people really get a lot out of this movie, but for me, I just simply don't get it. And that is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension.
To quote Ready Player One, and Buckaroo blows it.
Yeah, oh yes. This movie is referenced a hell of a lot in the Ready Player One series.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson has imitated it too. In the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, it has the exact same ending, the ending shot, which also is Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's in this movie too. Neither of you have seen this, right?
No, and in fact, I never even heard of it until you dropped the trailer to me. When you dropped the trailer to me, and to be honest with you, I get it was a teaser. I don't know what to get out of it. I don't know what it is.
Cody, I'm
sorry.
I have seen this movie twice now. And I don't know what to make of it.
I don't know what it is. I'd never heard of it.
Okay, let me explain in the quickest way humanly possible. Peter Weller, RoboCop, that guy.
Yes.
He is a genius who built a fucking laser that can shoot through it can make you phase through matter. It can make you phase through solid matter.
Okay.
And when you go through solid matter, you go in this thing called the Eighth Dimension. And there are aliens that live in the Eighth Dimension that want to conquer it and break out and take over the world, I think. Don't quote me on that. But he and his lovely group of super freaks have to face off against John Lithgow, who's a mad scientist with a Russian accent, a really bad one. And he, in the 1930s, tried to do what Buckaroo did. He tried to go through matter, but the project failed. His head got stuck in the 8th dimension and screwed with his mind. And so he and the aliens in the 8th dimension are the bad guys, and Buckaroo's got to stop him. And whatever happens in between and to the end, I don't know. I get lost every single time I watch this movie, and there's a lot of reasons why. It is way too exposition heavy.
So why do you think it became so iconic?
And no, that's not what I'm talking about. And it has too many characters. It has so many people. There are so many actors in this movie. Jeff Goldblum plays a cowboy who's just a surgeon. And the problem is, I can't pin down anyone's character traits.
Was this before or after The Big Chill?
Big Chill? Well,
because I know that was one of his first films.
It came out in 1984.
84. Okay, so this is after The Big Chill. Okay, so before The Fly, but after The Big Chill. Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't gone full Goldblum yet, but you kind of see elements of that.
Full Goldblum.
And his name is New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yeah, and there you go, Evan. What's his name? Mr. Krabs is in the movie.
Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown is in the movie too. He plays a character named Rawhide. See, the way I'm describing this.
You eat when we say you eat. You got that, you maggot-dick motherfucker?
But the way I'm describing this, it sounds like this should be a blast, right? This should be like this crazy, fun little cheesy 80s movie. But I don't get it because the movie plays it. It's like Cody, remember when you showed me all these Red Letter Media movies, like Feeding Frenzy and all that?
Sure.
Or like Gorilla Interrupted.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but played 100% straight.
Oh.
No irony. Like, you have guys in silly alien
suits. So you have something that should be schlocky and should embrace it, but they take itself too seriously.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes, and that's why I don't like the movie. Maybe people, like, god damn, it's like... You have Peter Weller, and his character, Buckaroo Banzai, cool name, but his character feels like something a 6-year-old would write. Because this is his character dynamic. He is, this is all of his skills. He's an engineer, man. He's a mathematical genius. He's a mechanic. He's a race car driver, and he knows kung fu, and he's a rock star. And I'm like, oh, and he's a doctor. You see what I mean? He's like, oh, what the hell? Way too many traits, and yet I don't give a shit about him because Peter Weller.
He's everything.
Yeah, he's too much of everything. And Peter Weller, like, he's not a bad actor, but in this, I just find him so wooden. Like, the movie takes him so seriously when it should be kind of like zanier or something.
Yeah.
And just to the credit, John Lithgow is probably the most wackiest character in the movie. He's fun to watch.
I can't think of any particular examples off the top of my head, but I do remember feeling after watching certain films where I'm like, taking itself way too seriously. Just make it a schlock. Come on. Yeah, I can't really. I get what you're saying though. Like you went in with the expectations of it just trying to be a blast.
Yeah, because I remember like I'd be on forums like, dude, like Repo Man, favorite movie of all time. I get not everyone likes it, but and there's people out there who probably treat this movie the same way I treat Repo Man. Like they probably unironically love it to the point where they call it their favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
But it's like it just doesn't have any verve to it. Like Alex Cox has verve. He has personality. John Carpenter has a lot of personality. This movie almost feels like what Big Trouble in Little China could have been, because that movie has a ton of exposition and characters. But I remember everything about it.
Yeah.
It sets up... It's a very well written script. Sets up everything very quickly. The pacing's insane, but you can absorb it pretty quickly. Even after a second viewing, it makes even more sense. But Buckaroo Banzai is a mess. It's very boring, and it's just confusing as all hell, and I don't know why people love it so much. And I get maybe it's like one of those things like, oh, it's super 80s, it's super cheesy, but I can't tell if people like it because it's so bad it's good, or if it's just like an unironic thing where they're just kind of blinded by nostalgia or something. I don't know. It's a weird cult film, and I know that kind of goes without saying, but it doesn't register with me at all.
Was the original that when I was asking, was it like a 1930s or a 1980s movie? Is that a remake? Is it a remake or a variation?
I don't know. I didn't look into that actually.
Probably two different things.
Maybe, but maybe it's based off something. But I just don't care if the original was much better. Because like you watch something like Flash Gordon. Yeah. Flash Gordon is it embraces its campiness. But this movie doesn't feel very campy. It should be, but it's missing a lot of the campiness that you would expect from it. Because they're fighting aliens. There's like, Buckaroo has like fucking 15 friends of his, and they all shoot aliens for basically the last 30 minutes of the movie. And I don't care. I don't know why they're fighting. Well,
here's one question to end off this whole thing.
Yeah, please end off.
How long is this movie?
How long is it? It is about 103 minutes, so just over an hour and a half.
So you saved me an hour and a half of my life. Because I will never watch it.
An hour and 40 minutes.
I will never ever watch it.
I've seen the theatrical cut, and I've seen the extended cut, and I just don't know. Give me some space. Give me some space. Get me out of here.
Round 3.
Round 3, the final round. Oh, okay. Boy. Evan, what have you got for us today?
Okay, so we're gonna jump another decade in time for my last pick. The year is 2015. 3 iconic movie sagas are getting rebooted or having sequels added to them.
Yes.
The first was Mad Max, the second was Jurassic Park, and the last was Star Wars.
And also Creed, I think, came out.
Right, yeah, no, the Rocky films. You're
yeah.
right. Sorry, the 4. I stand corrected.
Quite a lot.
Yeah. So, 2015 was a big year for blockbusters, and before The Force Awakens came out, Jurassic World was the most financially successful opening weekend film of that time. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I saw Jurassic World, I had a lot of fun with it. The reason why I want to talk about why it's overrated is because repeat viewings kind of had me see what doesn't work about it. So it's sadly another one of those movies where repeat viewings kind of made me like it less and less. But I still think I don't think it's a horribly unwatchable movie. It's better than Jurassic Park 3, and the movie.
It's better than a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's better than Jurassic Park 3
or
Fallen Kingdom. Oh, I feel like Fallen Kingdom should be stapled to Jurassic World as an overrated classic, because when I heard that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was getting positive reviews and was making a shit ton of money, I'm like, this is the stupidest Hollywood action film I've seen in a long time.
It's a haunted house movie with dinosaurs.
No, it's literally
basically.
Yeah. So, but enough.
Going back to
if we go back, if you get me on a tangent of Fallen Kingdom, I won't be able to stop because I hate that movie.
Yeah, but keep it with Jurassic
World. Jurassic World, the plot of this movie is basically the reason why I liked it the first time I saw it is because it actually kind of fulfilled a childhood dream of mine. When I was growing up with the Jurassic Park movies as kids, a part of 12, 13-year-old me and 8-year-old me always wondered, well, when I was a kid, when I was 8, the first time I saw Jurassic Park, I love the fact that you get to see dinosaurs on screen portrayed so well. When I was 13, I saw them again, and I was like, can you imagine what it would have been like if there actually was a workable amusement park where the dinosaurs could actually be enjoyed by the public? Jurassic World delivers on just that. They actually, someone goes back to Isla Nublar, John Hammond's successor goes back to Isla Nublar and says, hey, let's make Jurassic Park work, and we'll call it Jurassic World. The park is at this point in the film saga's chronology. InGen came back, made everything right with the politics, and they actually made it safe. They cleared all the safety inspections, and Jurassic World is open to the public, but this is a world where for about 2 decades in this universe, the world knows that dinosaurs can be cloned back into existence, and that's not exciting anymore.
Oh, no.
And so the movie the board of directors of Jurassic World.
There's commentary, quote unquote.
No,
so
I feel
flimsy.
I feel like that was Hollywood's way of getting back at audiences for saying, "Oh yeah, Hollywood's out of originality."
But it's so flimsy, and it's so like, is it intentional or unintentional too? I mean, I remember us talking about this too when we covered the Jurassic Park movies in one of our podcasts.
Yeah, franchise that should
have died. Yeah, I remember us talking about that too, where it's very like, you don't know if it's ironic or intentional that they're like saying
this meta stuff.
Yeah, or is it meta? Yeah.
One guy has like an OG Jurassic Park shirt, and he's the one who's always like,
that first part was cool. Legit. He said legit.
Yeah. That was Jake Johnson.
Yeah.
And then his comment is almost viewed as distasteful because, like, quite
a few people died.
People died at that part.
It was a disaster.
And more people...
Not only that, people in San Francisco died.
No, San Diego. In the Lost World,
yeah.
So...
Nope, but still open it.
And by the way, Fallen Kingdom adds insult to injury where they retcon the events of the Lost World completely.
See, that's the thing, is that it doesn't embrace... I don't want to retread the same thoughts that I had before, but because I'm recalling me saying this, but like, it's not embracing that idea that this is a very debatable and sticky situation to bring dinosaurs to life. And not only that, to put a whole theme park around it.
Well, because
there could be consequences.
But they established that for about a decade, the park has been operational with no safety issues because they made it work where they contain all the dinosaurs as dangerous as they are. But the park owner, the board of directors have to, who may as well be an allegory for Hollywood film studio execs, they say we have to fuck with genetics even more, where we have to make a completely new breed of dinosaur, where we have to make it scarier, we have to make it more ferocious than anything in this park, and we have to put it on display for the world to see. The Indominus Rex, when I heard that they were going to do that, I was like, okay, that might be cool. The Indominus Rex is one of the most generic things you'll ever see.
It's just a modified T-Rex.
No,
with some
it is
raptor.
It is a velociraptor. No, the Indominus Rex is a velociraptor the size of a T-Rex.
The thing is, what are they like? How can you even top the T-Rex? Because they already have, and they already tried to do it with the Spinosaurus in the third one.
Because Hollywood was clearly listening to the criticisms of Jurassic Park 3 because they said, we're going to one-up the T-Rex or we kill it off, but it made everyone who saw it in 93 cry when the Spinosaurus snapped its neck. And by the way, dinosaur nerds and paleontology nerds went on record to recreate the fight between a Spinosaurus and a T-Rex because... the reality is, in the time of the dinosaurs, the time that the Spinosaurus lived in and the T-Rex lived in were separated by millions of years of evolution. So the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus never would have coexisted. But future paleontology proved that the Spinosaurus was more of an aquatic, giant super crocodile than a land dweller like the T-Rex was. And if the fight between the T-Rex and the Spinosaurus went down in real scientific accuracy, it would have the T-Rex would have kicked the Spinosaurus back to the swamp.
But
they even show that in the fight where the T-Rex comes out and it smashes the Spinosaurus skeleton.
Yeah,
it's like, fuck you, Jurassic Park 3. We're retconning. We're cool.
But also, even with that said, in the context of the universe of the Jurassic Park movies, like when, Alan Grant's saying like, "Oh my God, you made a T-Rex." John Hammond, "Yes, we made a T-Rex." He should have been like, "And a Spinosaurus." We just didn't happen to tell you that until it just magically appeared in the third one.
Well,
it's like they have bigger things than a T-Rex.
No, but here's the thing: in Jurassic Park 3, Cody, there's a line where Billy and Grant are saying, Spinosaurus, I don't remember that on InGen's list. That's because it wasn't on their list, which makes me wonder what else they're up to. So it hints that there was a bigger science conspiracy going on.
Fair enough.
But they completely forget about that and just focus on the Kirby's lost son on the island.
Fucking Kirby's.
No, those people were assholes.
But anyways, but the thing I find it interesting that you're saying overrated because Jurassic World is mixed. Like, mixed as hell. You either enjoy it or you don't enjoy it.
I say it's overrated because...
the critics made $1 billion.
The critics were
$2 billion.
No, at the time it was released. Successful. At the time it was released, it broke all the box office records. Critics were fawning over it. It's like it's a return to what made Jurassic World great. No. They basically read just like what Star Wars would do 6 months later. They retreaded the plot of the first movie and they mixed it up. They added just enough in there to make it seem original, but it's essentially a retread of the first Jurassic Park.
And it's rushed.
It's rushed.
It's a rushed movie. It doesn't like, I want it to stick around in that park before it gets destroyed, or in this world before it gets destroyed. Yeah, and by the way, it just feels like okay, establish that there's a park. Oh yeah, play the John Williams music. Okay, characters. Okay, we really got to get to the inciting incident because that's what people today crave.
Yeah.
I guess. Like it took 50 minutes or to 55 minutes in the original Jurassic Park and in the Lost World for stuff to kind of start to get a little intense, you know? It was 30 minutes on the dot in Jurassic World. I feel like I was just getting started until the Indominus Rex was like, I'm in here.
Yeah.
Now I'm not. Now I'm in here.
Yeah. By the way, it's like, you're going to make a Frankensaurus. Make it do more than just camouflage. Make it spit venom breath like the Dilophosaurus. Make it make it, have a giant frill. Make its claws do something freaky.
And the thing is, they tried to say, I think Dr. Wu's character said that, where it's like, you didn't want accuracy, realism. All you wanted was just bigger teeth or something.
Do you feel like that's an allegory for a frustrated screenwriter talking back to
again?
Because Dr. Wu is portrayed as evil in that movie.
Well, again, it's flimsy on whether or not it's intentional or not.
And the part of the movie that I hated that they actually had the audacity to bring back in Fallen Kingdom. Weaponizing dinosaurs for the military. That's the stupidest idea ever.
Pretty expensive loss.
And I'm actually worried that the third movie in this series, Jurassic World Dominion, is going to further try to explore that. Jurassic World Dominion sounds like it's interesting in that it's going to be Planet of the Apes, Jurassic Park style.
You know what?
But I feel like they're going to fuck it over by doing stupid.
Do you know what Jurassic World Dominion is going to be like? Just go into your kids' freaking
toy box.
No, go into your kids' play, their grade school play. Like, this is gonna suck, but you gotta get it over.
You feel
contractually obligated to go see it. Because why the fuck not?
With Jurassic World Dominion, I've said in the past that the premise of Planet of the Apes style dinosaurs on the mainland epic sounds interesting. Then I thought more about it, and I'm like, it's going to be like. Imagine if, a bunch of screenwriters got their action figures from the past Jurassic Park movies and they just threw them all together and have a bunch of dinosaurs. Like, that's what it's going to be. But, Cody, I remember one of the first times I met you, you and I actually, we've yet to see a trailer for Jurassic World Dominion, but we kind of predicted how it'll go. They're going to show teaser shots from the new movie, and they're going to have Alan Grant narrating, Sam Neill rereading a line he said from the first movie, dinosaurs and man separated from 65 million years of evolution and suddenly thrown back into the mix.
How can we possibly have
the slightest
idea
of what to expect?
Title
up. Trailer
That's
over.
the fucking teaser.
Yeah.
That is absolutely what the teaser is going to be.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Back in the day when people didn't complain that Chris Pratt was in everything.
I don't care about Owen. Owen is a non-character.
No, Aaron is a Gary... Owen... So, I call him Aaron. Owen is a Gary Stu.
Yeah.
No, he is so ridiculous. In all these movies, he is so ridiculously invincible.
He's a raptor whisperer.
No,
I can't say that.
No, it gets to the point where his own raptor that he raised from a chick... he raised from a raptor chick, freshly hatched from the egg, tries to murder him out of betrayal, and the raptor still trusts him for some reason. Yeah. Oh my god. Jurassic World, the reason why I say it's overrated is because at the time it came out, it made a shit ton of money, critics were loving it, the fans acted... the majority of the fans were saying this was actually a really nice revisit. Now that time has gone... it's been 6 years since this movie's been out. It hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
Compared to how we can go back and talk about how Jurassic Park or even The Lost World have aged really well and they have merit. No, people still talk about what a masterpiece Jurassic Park is to this day. Jurassic World, it has not aged well past 6 years.
It's really devolved in sort of a franchise where it feels kind of like it's geared towards kids and not really the best way. Because like, do you know like they have those things on Netflix where it's like the animated Jurassic World kind of shorts, and it's all like animated. It's all for like kids.
Yeah.
And that's what it kind of feels like, the glossiness and kind of aesthetic that the Jurassic World movies are today, as opposed to the Park trilogy.
Yeah.
Is that it's all just embracing sort of like this sort of like, it feels like kids playing with their toys.
Well, people said that about the Star Wars sequels too, like until The Mandalorian came out.
It really does feel like it's like that childhood mentality of like when you're imagining playing yourself with like action figure man, like a dinosaur and a man, like oh run away, blah blah blah. Like it feels too much like a child at heart, and really there's not a lot of smarts behind these new films, and that's what staggers me.
By the way,
most.
Cody, let's make a friendly bet here on So to Speak. Listeners, hear us now, quote us later. What happens if the teaser for Jurassic World Dominion drops and it is exactly as we predict? What happens if they actually do bring back Alan Grant?
Then we are film Nostradamus.
No, what are we good? Like, Cody, if that happens, I'm buying you a 6-pack.
So be it.
Cool.
All right. Well, how about this? If there's any sort of like referencing from the original, like a narration, we'll do it.
Oh,
well, I'll make that bet.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I'm buying you a 6-pack if there's any narration from any of the first 3 movies.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Is that all you have to say about the?
Yeah, Jurassic World.
Close the fucking park already.
Yeah. I'll still see I will see Jurassic World Dominion out of cautious optimism. I want it to be good.
I'll go at it with just fucking obligated demeanor, cynical.
We'll go see it together.
Let's get this over with. Yeah. Because why not? Your premise has me slight interested, but begrudgingly, whatever.
Agree. Yeah.
I'm not hoping the best. It's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna laugh so hard if like Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, and Ian Malcolm, they're all like dressed the same. They all act the same. I'm gonna laugh. It's just gonna make me think of like Han Solo and everybody. It's like, oh, you're just the same people, but you're elderly.
You changed your hair, same jacket. No, new jacket.
You're elderly, but you're still the same person. It's just no.
By the way, they're bringing back everyone. Yeah. Oh fuck! Does that mean the Kirbys are gonna come back?
Oh no!
Oh god, kill me!
Please look up the cast list right now. If William H Macy and Téa Leoni.
I don't think they are.
Okay. What if their son Eric comes back?
It'd be cool to see Timmy and Lex.
I like Eric.
What about Billy? Billy wasn't so bad.
Hey, on that note, the actor that plays Timmy in Jurassic
Joseph Mazzello.
Joseph Mazzello is also in my last pick of the night.
Oh, okay.
He plays a band member.
Okay.
A bassist.
A bassist. Yeah. Of. Do you guys like Queen? Do you guys remember Queen? Do you like Queen? Then you must love this movie called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Cody, is this the real life or is this just fantasy? Are we actually going to talk about this? Are we caught in a landslide? No escape from reality?
You gotta open your eyes and look out to the sky and see what an overrated hunk of fucking shit this movie is.
Cody, I'm just a poor podcaster. I need no sympathy.
Okay.
Because
Bohemian Rhapsody 2018.
Mamma mia.
Directed by Oh, sorry. Something happened there. Okay. I guess it's kind of directed.
The guy who made the Elton John biopic a year later.
Yeah.
Well, he finished the movie.
Dexter Fletcher is sort of the director that was sort of had to fill in the gap for a certain other director that got fucking canceled and Me Too'd. Yeah. Don't want to mention his name. I don't want to get into that. But
Robert De Niro produced this movie?
Oh, did he? Wow.
Not only that, but one of Queen's bandmates, Brian May. He fully endorses this movie,
and that's what's so staggering and annoying about this. Because
the drummer and the guitarist both produced this.
You got that? Yeah, that's what Bohemian Rhapsody. It's the movie about
Queen,
the famous rock band.
Is it more about Freddie Mercury? Is it more about Freddie Mercury or is it more about Queen?
I guess he's the catalyst and the focus in this whole thing, but it really is about how he met the band members and how they came up with the band Queen that everybody knows and loves, and that's the selling point to this, and it is so shallow and hollow, the appeal of this movie. And I'm sorry, you guys are gonna kind of think that I'm going too harsh on this, Bohemian Rhapsody, this movie, is made for dummies. Yeah. I'm sorry. It's made for the simple-minded, and I'm not a person who's a simple mind. I don't get off on watching a movie and I go, oh, that's how they came up with that song that I love.
Yeah, no,
because that's
they did. That is not how Another One Bites the Dust was created.
That is not how.
They were not about to get into a fist fight, and then the drummer was just like, "Hey guys, do you want to?
That's a bass line.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know? Do you want to know the moment where this movie actually officially lost me?
Where?
You're in the, you're going through the whole journey of the career, the decade of Queen, the rise and fame and all that stuff. You get into the 1980s portion, and all of a sudden Brian May goes, "Hey guys, look! If I stop twice and clap, I got a beat here.
Everybody get together."
I'm like, wait, 1980s? News of the World came out in 1977. You fucking hack writers and directors.
Yeah.
You idiots.
And by the way,
did you not do your homework on their discography, you fucking idiots?
And by the way, Live Aid was not the band did not break up and come back specifically for Live Aid.
That is true. Yeah, no, that's what I mean. This movie is so factually full of shit. It's one of the worst examples of like how Hollywood takes liberties and just says, it doesn't matter what the fuck we do. We're just making up stories as we go along just to create a narrative, just to tug at you in the most manipulative and childish ways too. Like you have that Live Aid scene at the end where they're performing and it has to cut away to Mike Myers because remember Wayne's World, Bohemian Rhapsody? Pander. Do you feel that hammer?
I kind of like that.
They show
that
him,
was a nice touch.
They have to show him go, "Oh no, I should have took a chance on this band," and the audience goes, "Yeah, take that, you mean producer that didn't take a chance on them." It's all made for the
Is that actually what happened?
Fuck this fucking
Okay.
It pisses me off.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
And it made so much money, and people cherish this movie as like a feel-good fucking movie. When really, do you realize that? But did you realize you guys actually do know this that Freddie Mercury did not share to the band members that he was diagnosed with AIDS.
Yeah, no, until the movie,
long after the Live Aid concert.
The movie got
he was so private about it.
The AIDS community was actually really mad at the way they portrayed his AIDS diagnosis and how he came to get AIDS.
And of course, Hollywood trying to be so wish-washy with the fact that he is homosexual. That they don't do it. It's like, be like Rocket Man. Embrace the fact that he's happy.
I think that's why they did that in Rocket Man, because like, listen, it's very clear.
Oh my god,
he married a woman, but let's be very clear.
Honestly, it's funny because it's the same director.
Yeah.
Rocket Man is the superior film to Bohemian Rhapsody.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a fantasy musical. It's not saying that this is a real life. It's just like we're taking Elton John's music. And we're just sort of like embracing a kind of a narrative that's sort of loosely based on him. It's kind of like 8 Mile.
I don't know Elton John's music as well as Queen's, but yes, it is a better movie than Bohemian Rhapsody.
And what's his name? The guy that plays Elton John?
Taron Egerton.
Taron Egerton. He actually sings decently in it.
What did you think?
It's weird to hear Rami Malek. And credit to where credit is due. He does a fine job with the material that's given to him.
He looks like Freddie.
He got replaced a lot.
It's weird. Oh yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen would have killed it. Absolutely. Yeah. Sacha Baron Cohen would have absolutely.
No, I mean like his vocal performances were done by someone else.
No, not somebody else. They just took the fucking songs, and it's just weird hearing Freddie Mercury's voice over Rami Malek. It's very strange to me. It's distracting, actually. It is that.
They dubbed him with Freddie Mercury's actual voice?
Yes. Maybe I think for the Live Aid concert they must have had like some like duplicate, like someone that impersonates.
An impersonator. That's what I thought they did.
The Live Aid, because it's more like it's more cleaner cut. They can't take the live recordings of that. And to give some credit, the Live Aid the reenactment of it is pretty well done. I've actually rewatched. I rewatched it where it's actually like it's split screen where it's showing the actual like footage of it and the concert.
Yeah,
it's pretty identical.
Yeah.
So good for them.
As far as shot for shot remakes go, pretty good.
The Live Aid is fine, whatever. But like this movie just pisses me off. I hate biopics where they just, and I think it all started with American Sniper. When I found out how factually bullshitted that movie was, I kind of went, I'm going to think twice and probably research after I see movies that are based on true stories and see how much is like phony baloney Hollywood shit.
a lot of what you're describing is what happened to Ben Affleck's Argo. With the way
I lost respect for that movie after I found out. Yeah.
So I remember seeing that, back in the day, and I remember the climax being super thrilling. But then I learned in a screenwriting class, it did not happen. Okay. In real life,
that movie's called "Screw the Canadians."
No, you know what? Because they played the American savior trope because in reality, Canada did most of the work, and it got to a point where it was portrayed so badly that Ben Affleck had to apologize to our government for the way that the movie was made. After it won, he only did it after it won Best Picture, and people complained. And do you know what? Not to get off on a tangent about Argo, but I'll never forget this. Okay, people think it's preachy when the Oscars get political. The year Argo won Best Picture, that was right after Obama won re-election. They cut to announce Best Picture, they cut to the White House, I am not kidding, to have Michelle Obama, the former First Lady now, read the winner. And I thought to myself, oh my God, if they give Zero Dark 30 the Best Picture winner, I will never watch the Oscars again because that would have been the most politicized piece of garbage ever. Because Osama bin Laden and the premise of Zero Dark 30, that's Obama's presidential achievement. That would have been the Obama administration fapping to itself and patting itself on the back. They gave it to Argo, which some might argue was equally as pretentious. But, why did you have to cut to the White House? I love Barack Obama as a person. I love Michelle Obama as a person. But God damn, why the hell did you have to cut to the White House to have the First Lady read the Best Picture winner? That was so and people complain that the Oscars are politicized. I remember that night. I'm like, now I understand why.
Well, that's funny you say that about the Oscars, and this also ties in later on with Lyle's last choice. Yeah. But the same year, it was a crowd-pleasing, terrible year at the Oscars where, movies I don't want to name drop it right now, but Lyle's choice, Bohemian Rhapsody, they're all crowd pleasers, and they get nominated for Best Picture.
And they almost, I'll talk about it later.
Yeah. To me, that movie doesn't deserve any recognition because it's very directionless, and I don't want to get into the whole Bryan Singer shit. Yeah. He deserved to get fired, whatever. But the fact that the replacement came in and they made they made a movie that Walk Hard, the Dewey Hauser story, was making fun of 10 years before.
Cox.
Dewey Hauser, sorry.
Dewey Cox.
Yeah, not Doogie. You said Doogie Howser, MD.
Dewey Cox.
Dewey Cox
was in Walk Hard.
My God, my
brain.
But
now that we're on that topic, did you
Walk Hard?
I see.
Walk Hard was a parody of those types of movies, like Walk the Line and all that stuff. And then Bohemian Rhapsody.
Have you seen Walk the Line?
Do you watch Patrick H. Williams?
Have you seen Walk the Line?
I have.
Is it good?
It's kind of funny. I love the Beatles scene.
I prefer it over Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
I am dreading the day that they're going to make the Beatles movie with this type of formula.
Yeah, or Nirvana or something.
I'm going to dread it. Dread it. And also,
Lyle, I think if you were in charge of the Nirvana biopic...
Many have tried and went
Didn't Gus Van Sant try to make a Nirvana...
Don't get me started.
Last Days. I haven't seen that yet.
I hate that movie. But anyways, moving on.
But because it's so directionless, the editing is terrible in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Didn't it win Best Editing for the Oscars?
If it did, it didn't deserve it.
I don't remember who won.
And because it's so fast and so choppy, it's made so that I think it was Red Letter Media that brought this up during the Star Trek Into Darkness review, where you have editing that moves so fast that it almost feels like a magic trick, where it's audience, don't think about it too much. Yeah. Don't think about it too hard because then it won't make sense or it'll be bad. If you just keep moving, then it's they won't.
Oh my God! It did win Best Editing.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! Yeah, Jesus. It's terrible. There's actually one scene where they're all at a dinner outside that someone on the internet has pointed out how there's so many needless cuts in just this one simple scene where they're just talking. It's why is there so many cuts in this? It's just a simple fucking scene where they're just talking on a table.
Okay, hearing you guys rant about this movie...
I can't.
I'm gonna tell you this.
Just because you love Queen doesn't mean that this movie is good. That's not the selling point. I want to watch a good theatrical story. everybody, watch a documentary. You know what those are?
Yeah.
Documentary
you know what?
about real life. Watch that about Queen. Watch Brian May and everybody go into their story.
Like, you know what?
Like, why watch the most Hollywood-looking movie ever?
It's funny you should say that because when okay, so not to go off on another tangent, but a year before, I took my friend Luke, who was a big fan of Tupac Shakur, to see the biopic All Eyes on Me.
Oh god!
Now you know what?
I did not want to see that because I'm like, nope, not again.
Luke and I walked out, and Luke said the only thing they got right was that they cast a guy who looks almost identical to Tupac. But other than that, the movie can go fuck itself because it's like you're better if you want to know what the real story of Tupac. Watch a documentary. Ignore the biopic.
Straight Outta Compton was a better way of handling this formula.
That's a good one. That was controversial too because it got criticized for being written by white people when it's a black story. But the point is, but here's the thing. Going back to All Eyes on Me. There were my friend Luke had a huge problem with the way they handled Tupac's death. They played a song over the scene where Tupac gets shot at the very end, and it's not a Tupac song.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That was fucking stupid. Oh my god.
Yeah, but the one song that was used appropriately was "Dear Mama," where his mom bails him out, and I'm like,
that's my favorite Tupac song.
Yeah, no, that's a good song.
Yeah, watch a documentary about Queen. And don't fall for this pandering, stupid, overrated bullshit that is Bohemian Rhapsody. And as my friend Pat once said, because he saw the ending, because he works at a movie theater, and he had to endure and watching that scene so many times, the Live Aid concert, that that famous like money shot, the swooping shot, where they're playing Radio Gaga, and like the camera pushes into the crowd, and it's all a bunch of CGI people going
clapping.
Radio Gaga, radio. He's like, well. There's the shot that made him $100 million right there. That's the shot that made over $100 billion right there.
Now,
that's all it's about. It's money.
It's
Hollywood. It's Hollywood, and it's absolute cynical. And I will not rock it.
You know what?
I can't think of a fucking
this movie didn't rock you?
Nothing really matters.
The show should not.
Anyone can see.
Nothing
really matters to me.
Yay. Yeah. Good show.
Nice play out.
It's please, I need to calm down.
It's my turn, isn't it?
Okay. Wow, what do you got for us?
It's come to this, hasn't it? Evan, remember when we did...
Sit up straight.
Remember when we did the Marvel podcast?
Yeah.
We went till like 2:30 in the morning, and we.
By the time you got to this entry, you were just not in the mood to talk.
I straight up said, no comment.
Michael and I kind of nerded out on the Marvel.
You guys went way too far on that episode. So I'm sorry, but So my entry is another 2018 movie. It was also got a lot of Oscar buzz.
Best Picture nominated film.
Best Picture nominated film. I save this for last because I know people are probably going to leave the video as soon as I say it, because people are they have very strong opinions of this movie, and I gotta be the contrarian here and say I find Black Panther overrated. It's not bad though. I will get into it more, but I find Black Panther a little overrated. Maybe overhyped is a better word for it.
Okay. I was tempted to make a joke about, yo, Cody, who let the Klansman in here? But no, let's hear him out.
Oh, God.
Really?
Because I know, like, wow, it's getting
really
funny? No, it's not funny.
I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat.
Let's hear him out. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I get that I get those comments a lot when I talk my opinions of this movie.
Oh, you have to tell
I get a lot of labels for not liking Black Panther, and I think that's kind of dead. That actually makes me like it a little less. But
that's a good point. Yeah.
When I first saw it, I wasn't. I think the very first action sequence, like by the whole time I was watching the movie, I was kind of like not feeling it. I was like the humor is kind of awkward. It doesn't land very much. These fight scenes feel very weightless because the CGI characters are bopping around. It looks very fake. And I don't know how to feel about the villain. Like, I get what he's coming from for sure, but I don't really know like best villain of all time.
Now let's clarify. But how many times have you seen this movie?
Well, I'm gonna get into that. So the first time I watched the movie, I was like, it's kind of a 6 out of 10 for me. I don't like it very much.
That's not even a bad review.
It's not a bad movie. I just don't like it very much.
Fine.
And one of your friends said I didn't get it at all. It went over my head.
Yeah.
And then a girl I liked in high school, I shit you not, wrote me a 10-page essay as to why I was so wrong for giving this movie a negative review. And after that, I never posted reviews on Facebook again. So, and I didn't watch the movie again for the longest time. Until yesterday. I finally got around to rewatching Black Panther, and some of my feelings about it have softened a lot, to the point where I'd say, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Not my favorite, but pretty good. And I am well aware of how socially important this movie is. It's one of the highest grossing movies to have a predominantly black cast. It was made by a predominantly black crew. And it got all the Oscar buzz, and I understand that, and I respect that. And it's impacted a lot of people in a very positive way.
Yeah.
But I don't like how I can't say anything dissenting about it without labels, without a huge amount of, like, backlash. Because at the end of the day, I just think it's an okay movie. And I think some of the flaws, like the CGI, is probably, like, the biggest takeaway, because I can tell
the
Marvel,
CGI at the end.
Well, some of it in the middle too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's I can tell Marvel definitely shifted a lot of its budget towards Infinity War, which was being made around the same time. Couldn't pull all their resources into Black Panther's effects, and it shows. The final battles, they set it in the daytime, and it really makes a lot of the fights really fakey. Mm-hmm. I find most of the action in the movie not very good, which is weird because Ryan Coogler I actually really like. I thought Creed was fantastic.
Fruitvale Station's another good one.
I want to see Fruitvale Station too. I haven't got around to it, but I want to see that too. I think he's a solid director.
Yeah,
and he does these expert one-take scenes.
Chadwick Boseman, may he rest in peace, is a damn good actor.
He's a damn good actor.
So is Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan, Lupita Nyong'o,
Angela Bassett.
Yeah, there are a lot of good actors here.
A lot of alumnates in the film too.
Yeah. Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And that's
Sterling K. Brown as well at the beginning.
I feel kind of bad for Martin Freeman though. His role's pretty thankless. He's kind of like the sole white guy in the movie.
That's fine.
Next to but he's like I can tell they rib on him a lot during the runtime.
I get what you're saying. It's that, like, okay, Black Panther, I mean, you gotta look at, like, the Marvel facade and say, like, every single film, while there are some, like, highlights in the franchise, is that they're a cookie cutter to a certain extent.
Yeah,
they have the same aesthetic, they have the same sort of, like, appeal and, just sort of vibe that you get out of it. With Black Panther, I've actually seen it 3 times now, and it's actually keeps getting a little bit better and better.
It does?
I would agree.
Just based on the gravitas that you get out of it. Like, I get interesting world-building vibes out of this, and it's a film that kind of has an interesting narrative to it, where it's sort of a person in power that is not understanding the weight that he has.
Yeah.
And there is that jealousy sort of, like, aspect to it with Michael B. Jordan's character.
Yeah, Killmonger, yeah.
With Killmonger. And I don't know, it looks a little bit more visually appealing than most Marvel films. Except for some parts where the CGI is
some shots
a bit over the top.
I like it when like the camera switches around when like Killmonger comes into the scene.
Yeah,
and he's like hanging out with Wakanda.
Well, when he goes into that world where he's speaking to like the
UN,
the UN, where it's sort of
that was the post-credit scene.
It's a cool kind of night and day kind of looking.
Wait, are you talking about the ancestor scene?
The ancestor scene. Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, what's so special about that scene?
the ancestor scene, like that, like there's something visually. I still remember it. Like I'm closing my eyes and I can see it right now. Like that, their fight on the edge of the cliff with the, next to the waterfall. Yeah. Background looks a little hit and miss, whatever, but that intensity, that fist fight was really well done.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's there's a nice like kind of tribal appeal to it too with the drums too. It's it's nice culturally.
It approaches African culture very appropriately.
Absolutely,
and that is praise that's worth.
I mean, you could just shrug it and go, "I didn't like it because I'm white." Like, you can honestly just, like, bluntly say, like, but no, you can't. You don't want to say that. You didn't like it as much because you're white. Like, that's sort of, like, the joke of it. Like, I remember someone just said that, like, to me. Like, but I like the movie, but I'm like, oh, people don't like this movie that much. And they go, yeah, because they're white. Because they don't get it.
No, and then there's, like, tweets where it's like, I'm sorry, don't hate me, but you're racist if you hate Black Panther.
Yeah, no, the issue I have with
the dissent is very...
That dissent was
it's
going
either
on.
You hate it or you love it. And I'm kind of just sort of like, it's
I think
good.
what it is, no, but this is exactly what it is that, like, there hasn't been an African-American hero that people can look up to. Like, you look in the past, like, the Blade movies are a bit too, like, like, you know, you can't really get attached to it that much.
Yeah.
Like, Catwoman, like, you know.
Steel,
yeah. Like, so where has it been?
Spawn.
But this one,
yeah,
like, there's probably, like, young black kids that look up to, T'Challa. I was about to say T'Changa, but sorry.
T'Chaka was his father. T'Challa was the...
Yeah. That they look up to him like, that's my Superman, that's my Batman, and I think that's incredible. I think that I'm so happy they got that
too. Yeah.
And for anyone to say, like, I didn't like it as much, just be like, I hope I don't devalue your opinion. That's all it is.
I don't want to do that. I really don't. But you know, like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, best Oscar, best picture nominee. They tried to make a category just so it could win an Oscar. I don't know, like it's very
they retconned
it's a bit much.
They retconned that category pretty quickly.
They did, yeah.
But this was around a time where Marvel films, there were certain types of Marvel films, like, you know, like Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, and then leading up to, like, the Avengers, like the last two Avengers, where the movies were sort of like, you can tell the director had, like, a voice to it.
Yes.
And they had some sort of visual flair. They didn't seem as cookie cutter near the very end, but Captain Marvel kind of ruined it, but that's another story.
Well, Captain Marvel had two directors, and it really shows.
It's funny when you watch the first film that those two directors did.
Half Nelson?
Nope, not Half Nelson. It was the other one with Jesse Eisenberg and Jason. Fuck. Jason
Fuck.
Jason Sudeikis. No. Jason Segel. It was the movie where it was based on a true story where he plays like a writer, and Jason Segel plays a writer, and he's like Jesse Eisenberg is interviewing him. It takes place in the 90s.
I don't know what you're talking about. So
but the whole point was
directors of Captain Marvel.
Yes, when you watch that movie that they did, it's like, yep, it's just like a forgettable indie film, and then they make a forgettable blockbuster Marvel film. It's like, it's so fitting.
Yeah, that's starting to bite him in the ass lately, because a lot of their movies are just, they pick up an indie person and they don't really know what they're doing.
But with Black Panther, again, it did come out of a time where, like, there was starting to be some sort of sophistication to the director. You can actually tell, like, you know, like, Taika Waititi directed this movie. Ryan Coogler directed this movie. Yes. John Watts did this movie.
James Gunn.
James Gunn made this movie, exactly.
I would agree.
I feel like I'm kind of in an awkward place right now. I feel like
I think the overhype is what bothers you, because you're probably thinking, okay, well, it's a Marvel film. Why aren't we all just praising all of them? Because they are literally in the same fabric.
Well, I get why this one gets more appreciation than others. It's like you said, a lot of people can. It's a very positive role model for like a lot of. God, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. But basically, the idea is that I get why this one's well received. It has a lot of good things for it. And you know what? Second time around, I actually appreciate like there's a lot of good female characters in this movie too.
Yeah,
I like her sister. I like the sister a lot. I'm happy she's replacing. Well, I mean, the show has to go on in terms of they have to make a Black Panther sequel. It's really terrible. I was actually shocked when Chadwick Boseman passed away.
Yeah.
But if they have to move forward, the sister is a really, really good character, so it kind of makes sense to go in that direction.
I don't like her.
Well, okay.
I feel bad because you're like saying
the what are those is very dated and stupid. Whatever. That's a stupid line, but like,
I hate that line.
That's fine. That's fine. That's a stupid line.
You know what? The second time around, she was a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know. They destroyed all the plants in Wakanda that give T'Challa his superpowers. So I don't know. Is she just gonna build like a Black Panther Iron Man suit? She doesn't have like super strength.
No pun intended, but what if they? Because there was a what if dedicated to Black Panther.
Yeah,
there are a couple what ifs.
That's non-canon though.
No, there are a couple of what-ifs dedicated to Black Panther, but what if, like, there was, like, a secret stash of the heart-shaped herb, like...
They're probably gonna pull it out of their ass and say, here you go, Shuri, you have superpowers now.
In terms of, like, cultural homage, I really appreciate it, but the thing I like about this movie more so than other Marvel movies, I actually say that I would put this on the same level of brilliance and societal commentary as the first Iron Man. Because the first Iron Man is about, like, a stuck-up selfish billionaire who is shown the horrors of war and what his weapons are causing. So once he sees that firsthand, he's like, yeah, I'm done making weapons. And then he decides to clean up everything he started by making a sophisticated, like, weapon of his own.
Yeah, I think the first time I watched this movie, I didn't really care for Wakanda because it seemed like they were very, like, isolating, and they always looked down on everyone.
But that's sort of Michael B. Jordan's character when he was saying, like, why are we hiding away from the world? We should be embracing it.
And that's what Napita's character was like too.
Yeah. And
like,
you're in Africa.
The movie is basically about breaking the cycles. They want to, like, embrace a new site, and, like, T'Challa's, like, he's very traditional. He wants to be just like his dad.
There's some nice politics woven.
Yeah,
it's not so pushy, but it's very subtext. Yeah.
In the mid-credit scene, he literally makes a speech to the UN about.
Well, I'm a fucking idiot, and I should get my facts straight. So I'm going to debunk everything that I just said, because the directors that did Captain Marvel did not do the film that I was thinking of, that I now remember the name of, The End of the Tour. Is what I was thinking of. They did not direct it. The movie that I was actually thinking of was Mississippi Grind. Ryan Reynolds and oh my god, I'm just fuck names. Why do we all have names?
So we can feel unique, I guess.
Yeah.
There's so many Bobs. There's so many Jessicas. Fuck names.
Yeah.
I like my name. I don't know.
Ben Mendelsohn. That's his name.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Mississippi Grind is the movie that the two directors that did Captain Marvel did, and that was a blandish movie. Sorry, I liked the end of the tour. What was I thinking? I don't know what I'm thinking. Fuck. That was a good movie. Mississippi Grind is not that good of a movie.
Okay.
Corrected.
Okay,
I need to correct myself. Facts are important.
Oh. I feel kind of deflated right now. You guys really like Black Panther?
No, I don't really like it. I think it's a fine movie. I like it just as much as the other Marvel movies that I.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think it has, like, you know, a brilliance that is on par with the first Iron Man movie in that, you know, because go back to 2008 for a second. What did everyone like about Iron Man? They liked the actor. They liked. The premise was a little shaky, but the whole anti-war message, that resonated with people. It was not going to, at a time when George W. Bush was president, it was not going to win Best Picture because anti-war films or war commentary films tend to, you know, get Oscar buzz, but anti-war films do not. And there's a political reason for that because Hollywood and the military-industrial complex have, like, a close working relationship for the sake of authenticity on the camera. They have to maintain a close relationship with the armed forces in the United States so that they can accurately portray them. And to make that point clear, do you guys know what happened with Independence Day?
Why are we talking about Independence
Because
Day?
I'm trying to prove a point. In Independence Day, they were going to... The studio was going to say, the U.S. military was like, yeah, we're going to give you all these vehicles, all this equipment for authenticity. As soon as the Army found out that the movie was going to talk about Area 51, they withdrew their support, and the movie crew had to use miniatures. The point I'm trying to make was Hollywood and the military-industrial complex have a very close relationship with each other, so a movie like Iron Man is not going to be nominated for Best Picture, but Black Panther, which is, you know, pushing a message of diversity and inclusion and political progression rather than, you know, whatever else the Marvel Cinematic Universe was doing. Not to diminish the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it had really good stuff. Another thing that Captain America I would put Black Panther on par with Iron Man and Captain America Winter Soldier in terms of how brilliant they are.
I wouldn't put it that
way. But the thing is, I agree with you, Lyle. Yeah. I don't like the fact that this movie got nominated for an Academy Award.
Well, you have to understand, you have to understand why that is.
But you look at the caliber.
You don't have to like it.
You look at the caliber behind all the like all the years that came before that of all these blockbusters that could have just had a nomination there that are actually better than Black Panther.
Yeah, like Endgame. I'm surprised Endgame.
I'm actually very surprised Endgame didn't get nom.
I think it's
Infinity War. I thought that should have been...
That shook the world.
No, one of the two. Yeah, one of the two at least.
How many times do you see...
Or Logan.
Okay.
Logan was really good.
Infinity War, how often do you see, a movie that juggles so many characters, so many settings, and has a consistent flowing tone, a consistent flowing narrative? Infinity War could have been a mess, but it was brilliant.
You think it's because it can't stand on its own, and you need to watch everything else before?
Probably. But Black Panther... That can stand on its own. You don't have to be familiar with every other Marvel movie to understand Black Panther.
You can watch Civil War.
If you watch Civil War, you'll know how his dad died.
To be honest with you, I actually think Civil War, I like Black Panther, as the character. I thought he was better in Civil War.
I've heard that criticism
because
before.
I loved his arc. He almost had a bloodlust. He really wanted to kill Bucky because he thought he was responsible for his dad's death. And then it's I don't know if he was king at that time or
he
how
wasn't.
He got the powers.
I have a perfect analogy on how you feel about Black Panther, Lyle.
Okay,
Tell me if you agree with this.
Let's hear this.
Okay, so say you had a tons of Oreos in front of you. Okay, hear me out. If you had tons of Oreos and you're just yeah, I'm eating these Oreos. They all taste good. They're all the same, whatever. And then you come across one of those, those double-decker Oreos where it's extra icing in it, but it's almost like a sandwich where it goes cookie, icing, cookie, icing, cookie, like a double one. Those exist. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, that's stacked.
You eat one of those and you're this is one of the best things I've ever had in my life. And you're just well, it's just a little more of the same, I guess, but better. What's the difference between that and the other Oreos?
Yeah, I know.
I think you're kind of feeling like that with Black Panther.
I feel awkward because I feel I'm in the minority where it's I'm not really enamored by it as much as...
I'm not either, but I at least say I had a nice time watching it, but I'm not a defender of it.
That's what happened to me when I rewatched it. So I agree with you that maybe the more times I see it, the more I'll warm up to it. I think it's better now that I've rewatched it.
Do you know what it is?
For the longest time.
Do you know what it is?
Yes.
It is the real live action The Lion King.
Yes! Thank you.
The story is The Lion King, essentially.
Shakespearean.
Please.
It's very Shakespearean. That is the live action Lion King.
Can we just forget? I'm sorry. I love you, Jon Favreau, but can we forget about that movie? Wait, we don't have to forget about the movie. We can remember the original 1994 classic because it's the exact same thing.
Exactly.
It's a waste of time and money.
But I do think it's kind of interesting that, out of all the films that we talked about tonight, I think someone has deep... just sort of kind of exhaustion over that movie, but the other two are kind of it's okay, or I've never heard of it. They're sort of but that sort of goes against your personal. This is what's kind of interesting about what we all talked about. There's a thing called personal taste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That thing exists, and sometimes it can backfire very terribly. But I find that if you just have to stick to your guns, if you don't like something that everybody else likes, but I like something else that everybody else likes, so why are we so focused on that?
Yeah. And by the way,
we all like food. If someone's going to be oh my god, you don't like pizza. No. You're just the worst person ever. How dare you? You're disrespecting everybody, the creators of pizza.
It's like what we said.
But I like other food.
So I like that analogy.
It's like what we said at the end of our pizza episode of So to Speak. If you don't like pineapple on pizza, do whatever the fuck you want. Be an adult. Be
an adult.
No, seriously.
That should just be a motto for the internet. The internet. The thing is, be an adult.
Okay. Yes. If you're looking to combat racism, there were inevitably going to be trolls that were going to write.
Okay, maybe that's why sometimes people drop that on me because they think I dislike it because it's an all-black cast or something.
No, because
like that.
It wasn't.
And it's nothing like that.
I knew that from the second you described you and I saw it for the first time together with a couple friends of ours, and we walked out of the theater. I didn't think it was amazing the first time I saw it. It took a couple more viewings for it to grow on me, but the first time I saw it, I'm it was good. It was good, but the thing is, I feel like the politics are what left the bad taste in your mouth, and the backlash for anyone who dares criticize it. It's kind of like what happened when remember how hesitant I was to write my review of the Ghostbusters movie on Facebook?
Oh, that just...
Ghostbusters 2016, not the 1980.
I will happily shit on that.
How dare people say that this movie was not funny, but then all people say, "Oh, sexist, you're sexist."
No, Lyle,
what?
Remember
two different things.
Do you remember when?
Don't get me started.
Lyle, do you remember when we walked out of the theater of Ghostbusters 2016 and we were surrounded by these women who looked like they were in their 60s?
We were the only guys in the theater.
We were
predominantly.
The guys were we were like the two dudes sitting up at the front. We stuck it out, and then we were surrounded by the women walking out, and this woman who looked like she was in her late 50s turned to her friend and said, "I thought that was better than the original." And there was a look on your face of like, I want to die right now.
I disagree, but you know what? I've heard people say that, you know, they think that movie made them want to be more of a Ghostbuster than the original Ghostbusters.
All I'll say is that just go watch Bridesmaids or The Heat or,
I like
Spy.
The Heat.
Okay, and you know what?
Paul Feig and those ladies have done better work in the past than Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Just don't bother with that.
I think it's the toxicity,
my friends,
of the environment outside the movie that
you're absolutely right.
That hits me a bit harder in the movie itself.
My friends, the solution I have to this is I'm going to quote a comedian that said something very profound after Trump got elected in 2016. Stop thinking everyone who disagrees with you is racist, evil, sexist, or stupid, and talk to them. Persuade them otherwise. Think about this, because think about this. Lyle just opened up about, and I do apologize that joke I was going to
that was
make.
kind of a shitty thing to say. Just
I really
I forgive you.
Yeah, good. The point is,
you made a joke. It's okay.
The point is,
not a big deal.
The point is, well, that's the point. The point is, if you have an opinion that's different, give someone the benefit of the doubt and listen to it. Do not just assume that someone who dislikes Black Panther or Ghostbusters 2016 is a racist troll or a sexist troll. Those people will inevitably exist. Let them exist. They will exist in their own echo chamber, and they will ignore anything that contradicts their own opinion. Don't listen to them. Troll opinions aren't worth that much anyways. Unfortunately, they're fucking with algorithms all over the place. But like, if you want, let people know that you're not a troll. And I'm sure that, like, if you share this with enough people, your opinion with enough people, you'll come to the people like us who hear you out, and they'll understand. And
you also come to people in real life, and they're also not as hyperbolic as people are on the internet.
Exactly.
It's also been proven that, like, some tweets that are overly bashing films can sometimes be bots.
Yeah.
Like, it's not true. It's not real stuff. It's just sort of...
That's another thing.
It's an algorithm bandwagon that just sort of, like, forms and then tries to create something out of it, which is...
Social media
is... And in the end, it's just a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Black Panther... If you like it, awesome. If you didn't like it...
I will not take it out. I will not diminish your enjoyment of Black Panther whatsoever. If you tell me you love it, I will say that's really awesome.
Okay, so...
If you felt empowered
Same can be said about all the films that we watched
If you felt empowered by Black Panther, I think that's awesome.
Now, once again, I would like to bring this full circle. Just because you think a movie...
We should probably get...
Just because you think a movie is overrated does not mean it's bad. It just means we liked it a little bit less than you guys did.
Or we just didn't get it. Yeah.
But guys, there's also a flip side of the coin. Why don't you guys go check out the underrated episode we did a few months back?
Yeah, that was a fun episode.
Yes.
I enjoyed that one.
And this was also fun. I'm very happy we got to do this.
I would happily do another one of these.
Yes, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you all for listening. You know what? At the end of the day, they're just movies. Granted, we dedicate our lives to talking about them. They're our favorite things to talk. There are us three. They're our favorite things to talk about. It's what we live for. It's what we want to aspire to as careers. But they are just movies. We're passionate about them, but at the end of the day, there is some decorum we can all have to talk about them. So that's why we did this episode tonight. We hope you got something out of it. If you think there's a movie that's overrated that we didn't talk about, please let us know in the comments section. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Our popularity is steadily growing, which it's very heartwarming to hear. Yeah. Cody McDonald's been our real marketing guerrilla expert. So
expert. I'm marketing what?
No, you've been
you're a gorilla. What?
No, you've been awesome with. No, what I mean is guerrilla marketing, not a marketing guerrilla. Guerrilla marketing, like you've been doing it really well.
I hate that word. Why does that gotta sound spelled differently?
Guerrilla warfare and gorillas are spelled, and like gorilla the animal, they're spelled differently.
Whoever made that word needs a kick in the ass. That's what they need. Okay. Guerrilla warfare.
All right. Well, we're gonna sign off now because we gotta calm down.
Yeah, I could use a drink.
Me too.
Have yourself a great night, and until next time.
Bye.
I'm not saying goodbye. That's overrated.
That's where you end the episode.
That's too mainstream. I think that's too mainstream.
Well done, boys.